77 WABC. This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
No, I get by with a little help from my friends.
Before we start this show, let me make it very, very clear. If you love me, Sid Rosenberg, and you love Sid and Friends in the Morning, if you're with her, you are not with me.
The director of the Secret Service resigned today, one day after admitting the assassination attempt on Donald Trump was the agency's most significant operational failure in decades. As CBS's Scott MacFarlane reports, Kimberly Cheatle drew sharp criticism from both parties.
10 days after the historic failure in Butler, Pennsylvania, Kimberly Cheatle resigned as U.S. Secret Service director, writing to colleagues this incident does not define us, and that she didn't want to be a distraction.
Here she is, the star Congresswoman out of South Carolina, my dear friend Nancy Mace.
I'm not going to delve into conspiracy theories. That's not my thing. But I will tell you, it was her body language and her overly defiant responses were very odd to me. Who was guaranteeing she doesn't get fired? It seemed so crazy to me that she shows up to our committee as defiant as she was, not willing to answer any of our questions.
I will tell my friends on both sides of the aisle that regardless who the American people choose as their next president, Israel remains America's indispensable and strong ally in the Middle East.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in Washington and will address a joint session of Congress. This as Capitol Hill remains divided over Israel's conduct in the war.
I don't think he should be here. I don't think Netanyahu should be here.
Let's bring in House Minority Whip Catherine Clark. Congresswoman, thanks for being here. What do you expect to hear from Netanyahu, and how will House Democrats handle it? Do you expect protests from your colleagues?
I just met with the parents of Hirsch Goldberg Poland, and I hope that I hear from the Prime Minister that he is going to bring the hostages home, that he is going to rush aid with the urgency it deserves to the people of Gaza, and that he is going to end this war. That's what I hope to hear from him tomorrow. And I think that we will have protests here in the Capitol. They are already starting. People have the right to do that. But I hope that they will remain nonviolent and calm.
Do you expect House Democrats to protest inside of the chamber?
I do not. I think that we are clear that there are, we have rules of decorum. We are being visited by a head of state, and we will treat that with the sobriety that it deserves.
And I want you to know that there's a number of Democrats in the House who have said they're going to boycott the event. Yeah. Yes. And then some others are going to protest. Listen, we're going to have extra sergeants at arms on the floor, and if anybody gets out of hand, the Speaker of the House will bang the gavel. We're going to arrest people if we have to do it. We're going to get the message out. Madam Vice President, you say you want to be the leader of the free world, and yet you can't bring yourself to sit behind our most important and strategic ally in this moment. That is not a good look for you. It's not a good look for America. And it's not a good look for her party that she aims to lead. So I think those are very important questions. I don't have the answers to those questions. Kamala Harris needs to provide them. How can she be expected to be viewed as the leader if she can't fulfill this basic responsibility? This is her duty. It is your duty as the vice president and the acting president of the Senate to sit in that rostrum and host a foreign leader for their joint session, their address to a joint session. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the history books, but this may be an unprecedented event. The vice president to decline that responsibility. I just think it's outrageous.
The co-chair of the RNC and Trump's beautiful daughter-in-law, Lara Trump. Lara, I saw you this morning on Fox News, on Fox and Friends, and what you were saying is exactly right. You were talking about the party of democracy. Well, if they're the party of democracy, then how do you just anoint Kamala Harris as the next president without any real democratic process? How does that make sense?
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's amazing. It's funny because I assume they thought that they could hide a lot of what's been going on behind the scenes from the American people, but now they're forced to kind of just put it out front. Anyone who wondered, well, what's really going on in the White House? Who's really in control? We all know it hasn't been Joe Biden. Those same people are the ones who are saying, okay, listen, we know that 14 million voters cast a ballot for Joe Biden. We don't care. We're going to force him on out of the race. And instead of doing anything where the people are actually represented in a vote to choose the person for whom they would like to vote in the actual presidential race, we're just going to go right on past that. We're just going to say, you know what, it's going to be Kamala Harris. And the thing is, they actually got themselves backed in a corner here. Remember why they said they were choosing Kamala Harris. Not because she was greatly qualified for the position as vice president, and all you have to do is look at what she's done as vice president, which is zero, to know that she never needed that position. She was never qualified for that position. They said, look, we're going to choose her based on how she looks, based on our DEI hiring, based on all of that nonsense. And now they're stuck with Kamala Harris.
Vice President Harris tells ecstatic Wisconsin Democrats the baton is in our hands as she makes the case she's leading a new generation into the future. Good evening. I'm Norah O'Donnell, and thank you for being with us. In the first rally of her presidential campaign, the vice president met a boisterous crowd in the must-win state of Wisconsin. It was a relatively short speech, but Harris pulled no punches, framing the 2024 race as the prosecutor versus the convicted felon. She made that case against former President Donald Trump, comparing him to the predators and fraudsters she faced as California's attorney general. The VP is also racking up more key endorsements. Democratic leaders Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries threw their weight behind her today. We have team coverage of both campaigns and the White House tonight, and CBS's Weijia Jiang will start us off from Milwaukee.
One word said it all: Kamala.
I am told as of this morning that we have earned the support of enough delegates to secure the Democratic nomination.
Vice President Harris, a former prosecutor, went right after former President Donald Trump's criminal record.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. I will proudly put my record against his any day of the week.
What record? What?
Harris's momentum is fueled by cash. Her campaign says she's raised more than $100 million since President Biden dropped out of the race, and by powerful endorsements. The top two Democrats in Congress, Senator Chuck Schumer and Representative Hakeem Jeffries, announced their formal support of Harris.
Kamala Harris and her candidacy has excited and energized the House Democratic Caucus, the Democratic Party, and the nation.
Harris's first critical decision is choosing a running mate. A string of hopefuls, mostly Democratic governors, are all over the airwaves.
Vice President now has an incredibly important and deeply personal decision to make.
Whatever I do in November, I'm going to go into the little voting booth. I'm going to feel bad about no matter what I do. Right. And I'm going to then put the hands up and pray to God that I don't regret whatever choice I made.
Right.
And F it, MAGA 2024.
People talking and they're saying that you're leaving. So unhappy with the way that you've been living. Oh, we always wish for money. We always wish for fame. We think we have the answers. Some things are never gonna change. It doesn't matter who you are. It's all the same. What's in your heart will never change. Look in the mirror
wait, change. Certainly the very end of today's Open, once again put together in brilliant fashion by executive producer extraordinaire Justin Ellick, speaks to change because that was Lizzie Savetsky and her nearly 400,000 followers on this show yesterday saying that, hey, come November, MAGA 2024. So I was working on Lizzie for the better part of 9 months. Now, we all know, of course, her husband, Dr. Ira, also a very famous guy that loves to help out all people, but specifically the Jewish people. We know that he is a ardent Trump supporter like I am and a Republican. But Lizzie, that has not been the case. So I have spent, since October the 7th, a lot of time trying to take some of these lifelong Democrats and proving to them just how anti-Israel, not pro-Israel, sorry Noah Tishby, not pro-Israel, not Zionists. I've been spending all these months trying to prove to people like Lizzie Savetsky, my good friend, the great actor Michael Rappaport, the brilliant attorney who's going to join me this morning, Alan Dershowitz, that the Democrat Party, and specifically people on top, don't like Israel. They can say whatever they want. Their actions tell us they don't like Israel. And Lizzie Savetsky did something yesterday that was very courageous. And if you go to my Instagram page, which I compel you to do every day, at rosenberg.sydney, or my Facebook page, Sid Rosenberg, you're going to see thousands, I'm not exaggerating, thousands of likes, comments, and a lot of nasty Jews. A lot of nasty Jews. How can you do this to us? Trump doesn't like Israel. Trump likes the Nazis. How can you forget Charlottesville, Virginia? Trump this, Trump that. And then people like my friend Ivan down in Boca, they get upset when I call out the Jews. My own people are beyond effing stupid. Beyond stupid. Trump doesn't like the Jews. First of all, let me go back to Charlottesville. Everybody typed this yesterday, the detractors on the page. Don't forget, Lizzie, he's the same guy that said there are good people on both sides. And he did say that. But you know what he said next? Which the news always cuts out. The news that you morons, my own people, you Jewish morons, CNN, MSNBC are watching. His very next words were, except the Nazis. Even Jake Tapper, who hates Trump, has admitted Trump said that. But the Jews don't care. They just don't care. They
Fake
vote
news.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. They vote Democrat their whole lives, and they don't want to hear it. I have reams of information pointing out a ton of people in this Democrat Party that hate the Jews. Hate them. You're not going to find a Tlaib in the Republican Party. You're not going to find an Omar in the Republican Party, or a Bush, or a Bowman, or an AOC. You're not going to find it. They don't care. And even now, all these Jewish people, I'm with her, I'm with her. Look at Kamala's record, you dumb bastards. She's done nothing, zero, nothing to indicate she supports Israel. Nothing. And today, with Bibi Netanyahu, whether you like Bibi or not, and way too many Jews don't, but that's their prerogative, okay? Whether you like Bibi or not, how can you possibly not be there at the People's House today to see Bibi? As it was, the man landed in the United States on Monday. There was not one Democrat leader there to greet him. Not one. And now today at 2 p.m., he's going to speak in front of Congress, and a bunch of Democrats, Alan Dershowitz, a bunch of House Democrats are not going to be there, including the lady right now that is running for the president of the United States. How could any Jew make an argument that that's okay? But yet Trump, he's the bad guy. Lizzie Savetsky, she's no good now. Oh, got to unfollow her. She likes Trump. No good. Here was the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. I like him a lot. And he talked yesterday about how is it possible that Kamala Harris is not going to be there today. This, Lewis, Mike Johnson, cut number 18. Hi.
Madam Vice President, you say you want to be the leader of the free world, and yet you can't bring yourself to sit behind our most important and strategic ally in this moment. That is not a good look for you. It's not a good look for America, and it's not a good look for her party that she aims to lead. So I think those are very important questions. I don't have the answers to those questions. Kamala Harris needs to provide them. How can she be expected to be viewed as the leader if she can't fulfill this basic responsibility? This is her duty. It is your duty as the vice president and the acting president of the Senate to sit in that rostrum and host a foreign leader for their joint session, their address to a joint session. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the history books, but this may be an unprecedented event. The vice president to decline that responsibility. I just think it's outrageous.
It is outrageous. So Kamala Harris campaigned for the first time yesterday as the new presidential choice. And again, there was no process here. They just anointed her. We have a black woman. She checks 2 boxes. And we're going to make her our presidential choice. And a lot of folks, the higher-ups, were hesitant to jump in. Now, as far as I know, outside of Barack Obama, they're all in, all of them, with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries jumping in yesterday. And she's raised a ton of money, folks, a ton. Latest figures I saw, $126 million. That's a lot of money, a lot of money. So she was out there campaigning in Milwaukee yesterday. And this dingbat, who very, very freely took, I believe, $5,000 from President Trump years ago. He actually donated to the Harris campaign. Did you know that? No, did you know that President Trump donated thousands to the Harris campaign years ago?
I saw that check, yeah, the signed check.
Yeah. What was it, $5,000?
5,000, that's right.
So now he's a convicted felon. Now, I've dealt with bullies and sex offenders and all these horrible people. I know your type, Mr. Trump. Really, you had no problem taking $5,000 from Mr. Trump when he gave you money for your campaign. Now, all of a sudden, he's the worst human being in the world, you lying, thieving son of a bitch. Get her out. Get her out. But you see what's happening. We talked about this for days. I keep using the same phrase, and I will keep using it. The Democrat Party, and specifically the media, turning Kamala Harris, who's a giggling nincompoop, into Martin Luther King with a vagina. All of a sudden, she's the greatest person ever. And she said yesterday, anytime Donald Trump wants to compare his record to mine, let's go. What is her record? As the vice president, she's done nothing. She failed as the borders are. So when she says, hey, Trump, let's go compare records, what exactly, Noam, does she have?
Well, if you look at the 4 years as vice president, not a whole lot.
No, nothing. Not a whole lot. Nothing. So what does she have?
I mean,
she put a lot of black people away when she was the attorney general.
Drug crimes, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of black people.
And she was saddled, of course, with the border czar, and that has not worked out very well for her.
She did nothing, but not very well. She showed up there once. It wasn't even the worst part of the border.
Right. But, she's going to run on abortion. She's not going to run on the border.
I got to tell you, enough with abortion. I got to tell you, Donald Trump's stance on abortion is more than moderate. More than moderate. I'm sorry. He's for the exceptions, and he's talking about 16 weeks. The Democrats are the crazy ones. They are okay killing the baby after 9 months. What do you mean she can run on abortion? Because she's a woman? Donald Trump's stance on abortion is not J.D. Vance. It's not Mike Pence. He's actually very, very common sense abortion approach.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, though. She's going to say that he's going to try to make it a nationwide ban. That's what she's going to run on.
And he has said time and time again, I'm not doing that.
Doesn't matter.
In fact, it does matter, because there's going to come a time when all this, the shiny newness is going to wear off.
Of course.
And they're going to be on stage. And if you remember, Colorado talked about banning abortion, and Trump said, that's ridiculous. No. You remember that? Or you don't remember that?
No, I do. I'm thinking about, there's such a small segment of people who haven't made a decision, right? I mean, it's tiny. And a vast majority of them are women. And so that's what they're going to go for. They're going to go for the abortion issue. Whether it's right or wrong, they're going to hammer them as hard as they can on it.
Stupid people.
Well, she did back up Jussie Smollett.
She did back up Jussie Smollett.
Said it was a lynching.
Yeah.
And let me take it a step further. When the BLM people were beating up innocent people in the streets and burning down police
she was
stations,
defending them,
she used her own money to bail these people out. She's a real scumbag.
Yep.
Trust me. She is. And I'm going to talk about her like she's a man because she's running for president. We are all about equality here. I'm not going to pull back my words because she's a woman. If I do that, then that would be chauvinistic, wouldn't it? I have to treat her like I would treat anybody else. She's a scumbag. She's on the wrong side of just about everything. So today, Noam, is a huge day. 3 major things happened today. Starting at, earlier this morning, I believe, the FBI Director Christopher Wray is going to testify about the assassination attempt on President Trump. And we know that Kimberly Cheatle resigned yesterday. Still a lot of questions, to Curtis's point, not a lot of answers. So Wray will testify today. Also today at 2 o'clock, we talked about it, Benjamin Netanyahu will address Congress. And then tonight at 8 p.m., he's still alive, folks. The current president of the United States, Joe Biden, will address the nation from the Oval Office. So you get Chris Wray testifying, Benjamin Netanyahu, Congress, and Joe Biden, Oval Office. 3 big events today, yes?
Yeah, well, the Joe Biden event will just be a campaign event. He's going to talk about all the great things he thinks he did during his 4 years, and then he'll talk about how great she is.
Not even 4 years.
Right. Right. 3 1/4.
Yeah, 3 1/4. And how great Kamala is.
Well, yeah, that's what it's going to be today.
Oh, she's the best. Oh, we are so lucky to have a woman like this in our party. God, are we lucky. What is she doing today?
I have to look at her schedule. I know at some point she's supposed to meet with Bibi Netanyahu.
No, not at all. That's not true at all. In fact, Bibi and Donald Trump have an actual date at Mar-a-Lago on Friday. Neither Biden nor Harris has nailed down a time to meet with Bibi. In fact, I think she's in Indiana today. That's what I think I heard. So she can't be at the People's House. There's no set time or date for a Bibi-Kamala meeting. There's none.
Well, he was supposed to meet with Biden, but Biden had COVID, so they canceled that meeting. So don't know if that's been rescheduled. I had to look at his schedule.
Well, I heard maybe Thursday, but it has not been rescheduled. The only meeting that is scheduled right now is the good guy, Trump. So Trump and Bibi Mar-a-Lago Friday.
It is on their schedule. They're going to meet with both Biden and Harris will meet with Bibi Netanyahu on Thursday, and then on Friday, Trump will meet with him at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, let's see if Thursday happens. But where is she today?
That's what I'm looking to see what her schedule is.
Yeah, where's Madam Dingbat today?
It may take me a second to access that.
Point is, no matter where she is, no matter what she's doing, she should be sitting there in the People's House, but she does not like Israel at all, not even a little. And the amount of money that is coming into her campaign from Jews is disgraceful. And again, just go look at the Instagram, look at the comments. Jewish people, I'm with her. She's great. Trump's a Nazi. Trump's a Nazi? His daughter is an Orthodox Jew. He's been to shul on the high holy days. You think Kamala Harris has been anywhere near a temple on Yom Kippur? Anywhere near a temple?
These people are sick.
Stupid. I am so sick of the Jews. I am a Jew. I am a proud Jew. But, man, my people, a lot of them make me sick. They don't bother you, Noam, because you're one of them. So.
You know what's interesting is every time there's one of these elections, there's this anticipation that they're going to take off a fair amount of Jewish voters, the Republicans, and it hasn't happened. Now, it may happen this time, but if you go back year election after election, it's always the same percentage of Jews that vote Democrat, which is like in the 60 to 70% range.
No, that's right. I don't think it's going to change. I really don't. So I think Trump will do better with Latinos. I think he'll do better with African Americans. I think even though Kamala's a woman, he may surprise you with the woman vote, but the Jews, they're still going to vote stupid. All right, got a big show coming up today. Alex Traiman is usually in Israel. Justin didn't know this. He's actually in Washington, D.C. this morning. He's going to be there later when Bibi addresses Congress. We'll talk to Mr. JNS.org, Alex Traiman, and then the rest. Curtis Sliwa, John Chell, and Kaz Daughtry, two of our best cops, are in Washington, D.C. this morning, working with the Capitol Police, trying to keep that city safe from all these monster protests. We're also going to talk to Alan Dershowitz, the lovely Emily Austin, 2 million followers, live in studio, and Rich Lowry. It's a big Tunnel to Tower Hump Day Wednesday right here on Sid and Friends in the morning.
Is Sid and Friends in the morning. 77 WABC.
If you thought Joe Biden was radical, just wait until you get to know Kamala Harris. She's dangerously liberal.
I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her.
You know, for far too long, the status quo thinking has been to believe that by putting more police on the street, you're going to have more safety. And that's just wrong.
You're confident this border's secure?
We have a secure border.
We're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals. That's correct.
People who are convicted in prison, like the Boston Marathon bomber, on death row, they should be able to vote?
I think we should have that conversation.
Abolish ICE. Yeah. Is that a position that you agree with?
Listen, I think there's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE, and we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's new darling of the party. She 60 Minutes this weekend proudly calling herself a radical, and she's promoting policies like saying that every single carbon emission in the country, every car, should be eliminated within the next 11 years, everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate. Do you agree that she could possibly, in this ideology of the socialist left, could splinter your party?
No. I think that's fantastic.
Crossroads seem to come and go. Yeah. The gypsy flies from coast to coast.
Melissa. The Allman Brothers, Sweet Melissa. That's an ad Trump is running, pointing out how dangerously liberal Harris is. But the reason why we're playing the Allman Brothers is we had this really good conversation yesterday, because the reason why this show does a lot better in the ratings than every other show on any station is because it's not just about Eric Adams, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, Israel. We do sports. We do music. That's what a morning show is supposed to be. That's why no one else can do this morning show. Nobody. Because no one has that wide range of knowledge that my crew has. Especially Lewis when it comes to music. And we were talking yesterday about the great guitarists. And my friend Russ Sullivan, Mike Sullivan's brother, there in Maryland listening right now and every morning, said don't forget about Dickie Betts from the Allman Brothers. He's right?
Who just died last year.
Oh, he just died. That's right. Yeah. I remember you and I were on the air playing Allman Brothers music.
Yeah, he just died April last year.
He gone.
Yeah, but, they've had a slew of great guitarists in that band.
Well, all the Allman Brothers can play, right?
Well, Greg plays piano and keyboards. His brother, Dwayne, was and he died at 24.
How did he die again?
He was killed in a motorcycle accident.
Right. Yeah.
And a year later, or maybe it was earlier, a year apart, another member of their band died in a motorcycle accident about a block from there, same spot. I think it was Barry Oakley died. So they lost two. And Dickie Betts last year.
Greg Allman is gone how long?
And Greg Allman's, I think, maybe 10
like
years.
That. Yeah.
And they just had two great guitar players on their last, Warren Haynes and Derek Trucks.
I don't know who either one of those guys are.
Right. Well, they played, Imus had them on.
Oh, of course he did.
But they're amazing guitarists.
Yeah. Well,
of course.
I think at this point, everybody that Imus had on is dead. Pinky Friedman.
Pinky Friedman now is
he gone?
Yeah.
They don't make Jews like Jesus anymore.
No, they don't.
No.
They don't make a lot of people like Jesus anymore.
They don't, do they?
No. He actually, Greg played that song at Dwayne's funeral.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, because Dwayne loved that song. Okay.
The young man loved Warren Zevon?
Yeah.
How's that going today?
Well, they're
he really loved Campbell.
Glenn Campbell?
Oh, he loved Glenn Campbell. And then he loved the guy that wrote the book about Glenn Campbell. He had him on like 10 times.
Oh, my God, you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember Glenn Campbell's wife and daughter showing up one day.
They came
right before he died.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of sad.
That was actually a good interview.
Yes.
Yeah. And Rob Bartlett died. That's terrible.
Yeah. Well, you got Kinky and Rob. There's going to be one more coming. Look out, Larry.
Larry. Oh, I love Larry Kenny. I love Larry Kenny. I love Charles McCord. He's still alive.
Charles is still there. Charles will just beat us all, I think.
But we're not going to know if Charles died.
Well, neither.
It's like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. He's in the Ozarks somewhere.
That's exactly, and he won't be able to turn his TV on. Right. He can't work any technology down where he is. That's one of Charles's foibles.
He's off the grid. Yeah.
Yeah. The last time I heard from Charles, he sent me an unprovoked text when I was kicked out of the State of the Union, and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know how he even found out about it. I have no idea.
Well, he's probably a neighbor took a horse, rode down to his place,
told him about
hey, did you see the State of the Union?
You're probably right.
Friend Sid.
You are probably right.
The last things I heard from Charles were, so Louis, how do I work?
Yeah, we tried to bring him on. We had this brilliant idea that we're going to bring on Charles like once a week because him and I actually work well together. And he liked it, and I liked it. And we figured maybe an hour a week we'll bring on McCord because we still have a lot of these, not a lot. We have some of these Imus listeners still. And he just couldn't hook it up from the equipment-wise. It was a nightmare. He'd be on the air, he'd be on for 2 seconds, he'd disappear. 3 seconds, disappear. And then we eventually just called it quits, and that's it.
Probably how we wanted to go on the air, too.
Right.
With Imus.
Well, called it quits like he did with the I-Man.
Right.
One day he's like, I'm out of here.
I'm leaving on Friday.
See ya. See you, you prick. Where's my $1 million, you prick? That's how it really went.
That's what it was about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody wants to know.
Yeah, you want to know. There it is. Where's my $1 million, prick?
The listeners who haven't gone the way of Warren Zevon, that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, it is Wednesday, and we always have these really uncomfortable transitions. They're not seamless. When I go into Frank Siller and Carlton Towers, it's like every damn week. But anyway.
He's a big Allman Brothers fan, I think.
I guess he is. They do terrific Terrific work. It is time for our weekly Tunnel to Towers update. This week, we recognize a brave first responder who made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation recognizes and appreciates the sacrifices our first responders make daily to ensure our safety and security in our communities. An example of service and sacrifice is Forsyth County Sheriff's Office Deputy Austin Rudelhuber. While on duty, Deputy Rudelhuber tragically perished in an automobile accident, leaving behind his beautiful wife Taylor and their 2 young daughters. Upon hearing this news, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation provided the Rudelhuber family with a mortgage-free home through their Fallen First Responder Home Program. This gift ensures Taylor and her children have a secure and comfortable place to call their own, providing much-needed support as they navigate their loss. Join Tunnel to Towers on its mission to support America's heroes, like Deputy Rudelhuber and the families they leave behind, by donating just $11 a month at T2T.org. Folks, 95 cents of every dollar donated goes directly to the Foundation's programs. That's T2T.org. Donate now. That's right, folks. Never forget. Join the Tunnel to Towers Foundation on its mission to do good in honor of America's heroes. Donate just $11 a month at T2T.org. That's T2T.org. Just ahead of Alex Traiman, who calls us about bi-weekly now from Jerusalem, but he's in Washington, D.C. today to see Bibi address Congress.
This is Sid on Sports. Sponsored by Peerless Boilers on 77 WABC.
Justin Ellick here with your bottom of the hour sports update, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com, paviliontankless.com. Find a dealer near you. For the world's best built boilers, start here on the Diamond in the Bronx. Jeff McNeil kept up his sudden power surge with a 2-run dinger that snapped a 6th-inning tie, and the Mets held off the Yankees 3-2 in their Subway Series opener.
So now, correct me if I'm wrong, they'll play the 4th and final head-to-head game of the season from the Bronx later on tonight, but the Mets have won all 3. I would trade these 3 wins to go back 24 years and beat the Yankees.
Of course.
In the 2000 Subway Series.
Of course you would, yeah.
But right now, the Metropolitans, 4 games over 500, 3-0 against the Yankees. Let me quote Shaquille O'Neal when he said this to the late, great Kobe Bryant. How my ass tastes now, Kobe?
Well, it never tasted good. How about that?
I don't know. That's what he wrote. I don't know.
I think it was something else.
It's a good song.
That would imply
that song.
that would imply that at some point it tasted good.
I guess. I don't know. I guess when they were teammates it did. I don't know.
Well, we don't know.
We got up next, of course, as aforementioned by Sydney. Yanks ace Garrett Cole starts tonight against the lefty Sean Manaea as the Mets try to sweep that season Subway Series. Cole was tagged by the Mets for 6 runs and 7 hits, including 4 homers over 4 innings June 25th at Citi Field in his second start of the season after returning from that elbow injury. While we're talking baseball, let's check in on our Staten Island Ferry Hawks as well. In Game 1 of a midweek series against the Long Island Ducks, the Hawks lost yesterday's opener by a final score of 5-0. Tonight, the Hawks look to even the series with a bounce-back win against the Ducks. First pitch from Staten Island is scheduled for 6:30 p.m. Sports, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com, paviliontankless.com to find a dealer near you. They're the world's best built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning. Entertaining and informative.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
I think we're doomed. Hello, Sid.
We're going to talk to Alex Traiman momentarily. This group right here, Hall of Fame rock and roll band Dire Straits. And this guy's singing right now. He's very Jewish. It's Mark Knopfler and Dire Straits.
Somebody blows a whistle and I
Oh, it's funny how my career and my life has changed. I remember the days and when I would run home and be excited to watch a sporting event, and I still am, don't get me wrong. I'll watch the Mets and Yankees tonight, hoping the Mets can sweep the Yankees all 4 regular season games. You know, football, I don't move, folks. Saturday and Sunday, I don't move. I watch, no exaggeration, 20 hours of college and professional football every weekend. So, and the Rangers, of course, too. So I still watch a lot of sports, a lot. And we talk about it here. But I have to say that unless it's a really big game, it's not met with the same enthusiasm anymore like it used to be when I was a child, because now I've grown up, and listening to people like Boomer and Gio, grown men, yell and scream about a Jeff McNeil at bat for about 40 minutes is beyond childish and dumb. So now I find myself looking forward to, and I'm not happy about this, trust me, watching Bibi Netanyahu address Congress, and then later on tonight watch Joe Biden address the country. The last 2 times I saw Joe Biden on television, he was a nightmare. Now, the debate was really bad. That was the worst live performance by any politician ever. Nothing's even close. But I believe that the next time he spoke, after the G7, when he tried to prove to the American people that he's, quote-unquote, okay, I thought he was pretty pathetic there, too. In fact, he was awful, awful. Lied. How many times did he say, guess what? How many times did he say, by the way? What was the other one that he said about 100 times? Anyway, yeah. Anyway. So now he's going to do it again. And this will be shorter tonight. I think people will be happy just to see him because there's been so many rumors the last couple of days that he's dead or he's dying. It's really bad. He's on his deathbed. So he's going to come out tonight with a sharp, crisp shirt and a nice spray tan like he had last time. He's going to tell us what a great president he was, which is an absolute slap in the face to any smart person. And then he's going to tell us how bright the future is with this cackling moron who they've anointed the savior, Martin Luther King with a vagina, Kamala Harris.
Rob just texted me. He says Biden's still alive. Rob Bartlett.
That means Rob must still be alive, too.
Yeah, if rumors are to be believed.
Yeah.
Yes, he's alive, yeah. Okay.
Well, how come he never comes on?
I don't know, because he likes to claim that he's not alive.
He hates me.
I don't think
it's okay, fat pussy. He's got one back to Deirdre Imus and told her all the horrible things that me and Bernie said.
Well, now he's going to hate you.
That's fine. I like Rob. Rob's a sweet man. All kidding aside, he's a very sweet guy. He doesn't have a mean bone in his body, but he's a Nazi soldier. That's what he is.
No, it's a good one.
And whatever Imus told him to do, he did. And continued to do, even after Imus was gone. There's no way Deirdre Imus would hate Bernard and me and you. And what's the doopy kid again? The rodeo kid?
Wyatt.
Wyatt. They wouldn't even know what we're talking about unless it was people like Rob Bartlett. So.
Imagine if Imus had left a list of things for Rob to do after he's dead.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
I bet Rob would be doing
I'm sure he did. I mean,
what was the last one I didn't do, Deirdre?
And I guarantee you, Deirdre's paying him. Because last I checked, he's not selling out governors anymore. I can tell you that one. All right, here's Alex Traiman in Washington, D.C. Alex, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. How are you?
I'm doing great. So you're in D.C. I mean, we talk often. Every time we talk, you're in Jerusalem. You are MrJNS.org. And you may not know this yet. I think I told you. But we've already made our trip to Israel. We're going to be there for the one-year commemoration, October the 7th through Yom Kippur. I'm going to be there from October 5th through the 13th. So the week of October 7th, starting that Monday, I need your studios again, okay?
You can have my studios, and you can come to my synagogue for Yom Kippur.
That's a deal. We're going to do that, me, Justin, and the whole crew. But you're in D.C. today because Bibi is going to speak today. And how did you feel when your prime minister, like him or hate him, there's a lot of people on both sides, just like Trump, when your prime minister shows up in the United States on Monday and there's not one member of this Democrat administration there to greet him, how disgraceful was that?
I think you can understand it if Biden's not there, he has COVID, whatever the deal is, Kamala Harris, whatever the deal is. But Antony Blinken is the top diplomat of the United States as a Secretary of State. He's met Bibi many times in Israel, and you would have expected that at least he would have shown up at the airport to welcome Netanyahu. I think the message that was intended to be delivered was delivered. But I think what's going on here is more of a display of the incompetence. I don't know how you call it. I mean, it's a crap show here in terms of the leadership, and everybody knows that right now. And I actually think that Netanyahu, who's an established statesman, is coming in to demonstrate, what a real statesman looks like.
He is that, and so is Donald Trump. At times, we know Donald gets a bit bullish and doesn't look great. We know that, but he's a real statesman. He is set to meet with Bibi on Friday. For folks that don't know, those two have not exactly gotten along great the last couple of years since Joe Biden won and Bibi publicly went out there and supported Biden, and Trump was pissed. But they're going to get together Friday at Mar-a-Lago. And I'm not sure if you saw this, Alex, but at the convention where I was last week in Milwaukee, Donald Trump actually addressed the hostage situation and what's going on in Israel. And if you want to hear what a real leader sounds like, Lewis, Donald Trump, cut number 21.
And the entire world, I tell you this, we want our hostages back. And they better be back before I assume office, where you will be paying a very big price.
I mean, so reminiscent of what Ronald Reagan said to Iran back in 1980. I've never heard anybody on the Democrat side say anything like that, being that forceful. They talk about the hostages and kind of, to complete a sentence. But how about that, the stark contrast between the way the Democrats talk and Donald Trump right there last Thursday night?
And that's exactly what Netanyahu has been saying the whole time. So the only way you're going to get the hostages back is to apply maximum pressure on Hamas. They have to know that they're going to lose. That's the only way that you're going to get the hostages back. I think that Trump understands the region. He's got it in his gut. He understood who to support, who to defund, and how to make peace when everybody in the State Department for the last 30 years plus, keeps banging their heads against the wall, trying to tear Israel into pieces to make a Palestinian state and to fund the greatest sponsor of terror in the Middle East and the whole world, for that matter, which is the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Yeah, I was watching, this is Alex Traiman, JNS.org, usually calls us from Jerusalem, but he's in D.C. today for Bibi. Catherine Clark is the House Minority Whip. And she was on ABC TV yesterday, and they said, what do you want to see from Bibi tomorrow? And she said, well, I want to see Bibi, talk about a ceasefire. I'm bringing the hostages home. I'm ending the war. All the Democrat talking points that we've heard for months. What she didn't say was, we want to hear from Bibi how he's going to win, how he's going to make sure the only democracy in the Middle East is around in 100 years. But they don't say that. I mean, you've heard all the talk from these Democrats leading up to this address. What are your thoughts?
Well, the first thought is that Netanyahu doesn't hold the hostages. The hostages are being held by Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Everybody has rallied around the slogan called "Bring Them Home" on the Israeli government, but the real slogan should be "Let Them Go," which is Hamas needs to let them go. The Democratic establishment, they have their talking points. I think Netanyahu is going to surprise a lot of people today. I think that he's going to talk about his vision for the day after the war in Gaza, what that looks like, and I think he's going to talk about a new approach.
Well, let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there, because that has been the main sticking point. We've heard Blinken and these people say a million times, what does it look like the day after? So if you think he's going to talk about that, do you have any gut feeling on how he's going to approach it, what he's going to say?
Well, first of all, I think he might disappoint some people because he's going to say that Israel is the only power that is going to be able to maintain Israeli security and is going to have to be able to move in and out. And I think he's going to talk about a wider regional approach where he works with other actors, including the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, maybe even Saudi Arabia, to create some kind of provisional government. But I think that he's going to be quite insistent, that Hamas not be part of any future leadership in the Gaza Strip, and also that the Palestinian Authority not be the ones that are charged with taking over the Gaza Strip, because as we saw just this past week, the Palestinian Authority has pledged over and over again that if they go into Gaza, they're going to form a unity government together with Hamas.
You know, Alex, I went to an event last Thursday, the afternoon of the night where Trump spoke in Milwaukee. I know you know my cousin, your very good friends, Norm Coleman, my first cousin, and he heads the RJC, the Republican Jewish Coalition. And he had this wonderful event at a place called the Wisconsin House, about 15 minutes away from the arena where Trump spoke that night. And there was a lot of great speakers. Everybody from Governor Abbott, Texas, Doug Burgum, even Kristi Noem. The guy that really stole the show from me was Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House. And Mike Johnson has been very adamant about if folks cause trouble today, they're going to arrest them. And he talks specifically about a bunch of Democrats, House Democrats, that are not going to be there today. Here's one of them, Lewis, cut number 16.
I don't think he should be here. I don't think Netanyahu should be here.
AOC, I don't think Netanyahu should be here. She's not coming. Bernie Sanders, worthless Jew, he's not coming. Liz Warren, there's a ton of House Democrats that are not going to show up. What are your thoughts? Our main ally in the Middle East, and you've got politicians who are not going to show up. That's the best case scenario. The worst is they show up and actually cause trouble. What are your thoughts?
I think that's right. I would expect that some will show up and will cause trouble. They want to create the spectacle inside the room to interrupt Netanyahu and to do it maybe all at once, maybe one at a time, to just create complete distraction. But, I think what you said is correct about Israel being an ally of the United States. Israel is such a loyal ally of the United States. If you would poll any Israeli about how much they feel that they align with the United States, how much they care about the strength of the United States, how much they share values with the United States, you would get 95% of the Israeli public. And I don't think you would find that in almost any other country in the world. And it's quite ironic, if not beyond ironic, that these so-called liberals, the most liberal of the liberals, the progressives of the liberals, they will specifically choose not to align with the democratically elected leader of the most liberal country in the Middle East and one of the most liberal countries in the entire world. And instead, they will side with repressive, illiberal terror sponsors and murderers instead of their ally.
Starting Monday, October 9th, literally 2 days after that horrible day, that's the first time I spoke to you, thanks to Noam Laden. And you've been coming on regularly since, and now we're dear friends, you, Tzippy, Danielle. I had Shabbos dinner at your house, and I'll do it again coming this October. But I spent almost every time you've been on since October 9th trying to prove to you that Joe Biden was not pro-Israel because you, like many others, came on early on and said, no, he's pro-Israel. No, he's not. And we got to that point where you were like, okay, you're right. He's not pro-Israel. Well, he's out now. And here comes Kamala Harris. And I got to tell you, as tough as I was on Biden, and I was very tough because I know he was full of it, she's worse. Her record for Israel, all she talks about is punishing Bibi for going into Rafah. By the way, he did get 4 hostages out of Rafah, excuse me. She's also talked about the two-state solution. She's also talked about how Israel has been committing genocide. She's worse than Joe Biden. Agree or disagree?
100%. Joe Biden is one of the, old guard of the Democratic Party that has been participating in this alliance with Israel for decades, for better or for worse. but still, there was a relationship and a close one. Kamala Harris doesn't come from that tree. And it's also been clear that Joe Biden hasn't been the one running the policy on Israel, probably hasn't been running the policy on most anything over the last period, but especially not in the last year since this war started. And you've actually seen even Joe Biden decline dramatically since that trip that he made to Israel in the beginning of the war. So it's obvious that it's been Anthony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, and other worse elements of the foreign policy administration, including Maher Bitar and Hadi Amr, who are virulently anti-Israel in their nature. And Kamala Harris comes from this progressive tree. She is a progressive. She comes from the Obama line, and she has no love in her heart anywhere for the state of Israel, as far as we can tell.
None, zero. And what's crazy is she's going to say all the right things. She's going to meet privately with Bibi this week. Trump's going to meet with Bibi, too, down in Mar-a-Lago on Friday. She's going to say all the right things. Look, I love Israel, but, I just want to make sure the other folks are okay, too. All that nonsense, So Lizzie Savetsky is a very, very famous influencer, has about 400,000 followers. And I've been working on her for 9 months, like Michael Rappaport, like Alan Dershowitz, to convince her to stop voting Democrat. She's a lifelong Dem, and start voting for people like Trump. Well, yesterday on this show, you're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe it, Alex. But yesterday on this show, it finally happened. Lewis, Lizzie Savetsky, cut number 9.
Whatever I do in November, I'm going to go into the little voting booth. I'm going to feel bad about no matter what I do. Right. And I'm going to then put the hands up and pray to God that I don't regret whatever choice I made. Right. And F it, MAGA 2024.
F it, MAGA 2024. She admits she's voting for Trump. You have to see, Alex, on my Instagram timeline at rosenberg.sydney, the amount of Jews that have been killing her. I mean, killing her since last night. I'm done with you. You screwed us. Trump is a Nazi. Trump is a Nazi. The Democrats love the Jews. So you tell me, Alex, as a man that lives in Jerusalem and talks to Israelis, what exactly am I missing here?
It was interesting. Yesterday, Prime Minister Netanyahu had 2 meetings, public meetings. One was a meeting with Jewish community leaders, and one was a meeting with evangelical Christian faith leaders. I was talking and schmoozing with leaders of going in and out of both of those meetings, and you saw that I'd say maybe 50-50 of the Jewish leaders, are conservative, and 50-50 are liberal. Half will vote for Republicans in this election, half will vote for Democrats. The evangelical Christians, 100% of them are going to vote for Donald Trump in this upcoming election, and 100% of them do not criticize not even one policy of Netanyahu and the state of Israel, while the Jewish leaders, while they all support Israel to some extent or another, they all are also highly critical. It's hard to understand. For Jews, they have a lot of issues, but it's been very, very clear in the last 8 years, 12 years that the policies of Donald Trump did a lot more for the safety and security of the state of Israel and the entire Middle East than the policies of the Obama administration and now the Biden administration.
So is it fair to assume on the way out that JNS.org, if you haven't already, maybe you have, if you haven't already, you guys are endorsing Trump, not Harris, right?
Well, JNS.org is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that relies on donations from philanthropists and readers and foundations, and by law is not allowed to endorse any candidate or policy. But we do try to report to the best as we can on what has happened to date, and what's our analysis on what could be in the future. But it really is up to people to make their own decisions. I hope that we give people the facts and the analysis they need to make smart decisions.
Last one, 30 seconds. Where exactly will you be in the House today? And if you want to stick around tonight, I'll make sure that the Esposito and Lawler and all these guys take you to the Capitol Grill in D.C. How about that?
It sounds good. I've been going to the kosher establishment in D.C., the Char Bar, but yeah, we should be in the gallery with the entire Israeli press delegation. Looking forward to the speech. I think in some ways it has the possibilities to be historic. Don't forget that in 2015, when Netanyahu came in and he opposed the signing of the Iran nuclear deal that Obama was putting on the table, that was one of the foundational elements that led to the Abraham Accord signing several years later. Leaders of those countries picked up the phone and called Netanyahu and his advisors the moment after that speech was done, and they understood that something special had happened that day, and hopefully something special will happen today as well.
Awesome. Well, I wish I was there, but the last time I was there, they threw me out. I don't think you'll be thrown out today, so I don't think so. I mean, I can't see the guy that's speaking is on our team, so you should be fine. Well, thank you for hopping on this morning. I'm glad, Alex, you're going to take part in this historical event later on today. You know I love you, and I will talk to you when you get back safely to Jerusalem. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Sid.
My guy, Alex Traiman, JNS.org, live from Washington, D.C., a little departure from his regular calls from Jerusalem. He's going to see Bibi speak in the People's House today. It's only one guest of a huge guest list today. Big 7 o'clock hour about to come your way. We're going to talk to John Chell and Kaz Daughtry, two of my favorite New York cops. They're in D.C. this morning fighting off protesters and, of course, the great Curtis Sliwa, as always, coming up next. We'll talk to Curtis right after Noam with the news.
Everyone agrees that these are classic symptoms of a monetary squeeze. On ITV and BBC, they talk about the curse. Philosophy is useless, theology is worse. History falls over, there's an economic street. Sociologists invent words that make industrial disease.
Entertaining and informative. This is Sid and Friends in the Morning. 77 WABC.
Before we start this show, let me make it very, very clear. If you love me, Sid Rosenberg, and you love Sid and Friends in the Morning, if you're with her, you are not with me. Yeah. It's really that simple, folks. If you're with her, you're not with me. And I don't care if you're Jewish. I know there are Jewish people that go, well, you shouldn't attack your own people. We're in this together. No, we're not. No, we're not. If you're going to vote for people that are anti-Jewish, anti-Israel, then I'm not with you. I'm sorry. And that's Kamala Harris. So I'm talking to Curtis before this segment. It's a great segment every day about this time. Curtis does a terrific job. The Rip and Read, noon to 1, every weekday afternoon, hosting overnight weekends. He's the icon. He's the legend. He's Mr. Guardian Angel. He was the topic of conversation quite a bit last night with Keith Kantrowitz and Anthony Carone and Mark Oranger and all my guys at our monthly dinner. All good things, by the way. But Curtis says to me, let me start this morning with what you've been saying for 2 days. I've only been saying two things. One, of course, Kamala Harris being treated now by the media like Martin Luther King with a vagina. And the second thing is, if you're with her, you are not with me. You want to start right there.
Absolutely. Brilliant idea that you had. Brilliant marketing plan. You even said, where's the merch? Remember, where's the merch? Well, you're slow, because the moment Lizzie Savetsky came into the studios of the most powerful morning show in America from coast to coast on the most powerful station, WABC, and threw herself on the sword and said, I'm voting for MAGA Trump, although I'm holding my nose. You got it to that point. You now got to work on Michael Rappaport, Alan Dershowitz. That's the big guy.
Right. He's coming on at 8:15 this morning. That work continues, I believe, when it's all said and done. Like Meatloaf once said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
And let me tell you something. All those yentas out there, they immediately started consulting the tarot cards, the Ouija boards out there in the Hamptons, the astrological charts, and they were putting a Malukia, the Italian curse, on Lizzie Savetsky and you. And in typical Jewish fashion, they always beat the Gentiles in retail and wholesale marketing. They already have the shirts out there on Orchard and Delancey last night at 5 o'clock. If you're with Sid, you're out of your mind.
Is that what they said?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
If you're with Sid, you're out of your mind.
I love it.
Because let's face it, Jews control retail and wholesale, right?
They still do that?
Yes.
He's starting to sound like LeBron James.
No, I'm sorry. You know that.
They took it a step further with Lizzie. Not only did Savetsky, a lifelong Democrat, and King, loved by the Jews, not only did she admit she's voting for Donald Trump, but then, my dear friends Michelle Lubin down in South Florida and Siggy Flicker down in South Florida, it's in the Hamptons now, they started this group called Jexit a couple of years ago, which is Jews exiting the Democrat Party. They put, Curtis, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, Lizzie Savetsky, congratulations, welcome to Jexit. And she said, I'm okay with it. Dr. Ira said, I'm okay with it. So not only is she voting for Trump, but she is exiting the Democrat Party.
And rightfully so, but unfortunately, your peeps, most are still self-hating Jews.
Why?
They will vote Democrat till the day they die.
Curtis, I'm telling you, to your point,
yes.
I'm going to go with like 63% of my brethren, my Jewish morons, are still voting for these Jew haters.
Now I'll give you an example here. Okay, with Joe Biden, they could have said medza, poco, half and half, because he's had a history with Israel. Harris, her history is with Hamas, Hezbollah,
yes,
the Houthis, Iran. She hates the state of Israel, Curtis, and Bibi.
She's best friends with the squad. Those are her friends. I was in that building before the State of the Union, before you guys at home saw it on TV. I saw Kamala downstairs with AOC and Omar and Tlaib. Those are her legitimate friends. Who is Rabbi Potasnik voting for now? You tell me. You tell me. If he votes for Kamala Harris, I'll never talk to him again.
Yeah, but
never.
You know they are. And you know what excuse they're going to use? Well, she married one of the tribes.
Stop it, that.
Her husband
Stop it.
is an Ashkenazi Jew.
So is Bernie Sanders. So is your former partner, Ron Kuby, who I think is a worse Jew than Hamas.
True, but you see, in this case, I'm saying, hey, Jews, she married Judas. Judas? That's right. Remember, he died a Jew, just like all the apostles. They weren't Christians or Catholics. They were Jews, just like Jesus. Right. He took 30 pieces of silver to do in his Jewishness. Where is she today? She's worshiping the shrine of Axl Rose in Indiana, Lafayette, Indiana.
Even worse. She is in Indiana. She's not there to meet with a political official. She's at a sorority at a college in Indianapolis. So I want you to know this, folks. When she says she can't be there today because she had a prior engagement, here's the truth, Jews, my people, you morons. Here's the truth. She's boycotting Bibi today, just like the rest of these Jew-hating Democrats.
You're so absolutely correct. So now, if Alan Dershowitz does not cross over on this one, it's over. And that means he's a Maytag. His wife's got the ring right to his nose.
Well,
Come on.
She does. Carol does. Well, let me ask you that. What do you think he'll do?
If he's got to change now. I mean, look.
I don't see
Look. Vice President Harris, who is at a coronation. By the way, the New York Times has editorials today. We didn't want a coronation with Joe Biden leaving. Because remember, the New York Times basically signaled to everybody, Joe, you got to go. And now they're saying, but we didn't expect a coronation of Vice President Harris.
Right.
We expected sort of a mini primary. You know, let's stimulate. What votes did she get? This is the New York Times. But let me tell you this. We have a more serious problem here at WABC. Our program director, Kevin Joyce, is going through cheese withdrawal like so many. When you went to Milwaukee, part of the hospitality of that state, because it's the only state to have a licensed cheesemaker, is they give you all kinds of free samples of cheese.
That's true.
They give you little brick cheeses, cheddar, American, mozzarella, Munster, Limburger. Oh, my God, it smells. I can't tell you the number of people I've spoken to when they've come back from Milwaukee who were sick. People don't realize this. You do, because you had a problem at one time that required rehab. Cheese has a certain chemical in it, casein, that during digestion releases a chemical similar to opioids.
What?
You develop an addiction to cheese.
What are you talking about?
Absolutely. I had hogshead cheese when I was in Milwaukee, man. Let me tell you, it was German, but the brothers introduced it to me. Hogshead cheese right on a Ritz cracker with cold Coca-Cola in the old bottles. Man, I'm telling you.
So you're telling me that
Kevin Jones has a 103-degree fever. There are others out there. I had a meeting of Republicans coming in from Florida today who want to back me for mayor because they're ex-New Yorkers. They say, oh, my God, New York City is in the turn. They all got sick coming out of Milwaukee.
No
I
kidding.
described to them the same symptoms.
You don't think it was maybe the airplane, maybe being around 1,000 people who have COVID? You think it's the cheese?
No, it is. If you're not used to eating massive amounts, like in Wisconsin, I'm saying, look it up.
No,
I am not making this up.
Well, then, if you're right, guess who's going to be sick today? Kamala Harris. She was in Milwaukee yesterday.
Yeah, but you know her.
She's not eating cheese?
She's finicky, you know. I she's a real diva.
Oh, I understand, because Kevin is fat.
No.
You're claiming you eat a lot of cheese.
He's not the only one here. I'm not going to mention names. There are HIPAA barriers to that. But there are a lot of people who have gotten sick coming back from Milwaukee. They're just not used to eating that much cheese. Everywhere you went, they were offering you free samples of brick cheese, not the government cheese that some people grew up with, but cheese.
All right, there you have it. There's the explanation. I do want to get to the mayor for a second.
Yes.
Because yesterday, Kimberly Cheatle resigned, and I want to give my good friend Nancy Mace credit for that one. Nicely done, Nancy. And so she quits. But it turns out, I guess, that your friend, the mayor, saw something on the Internet talking about the shooter and just regurgitated what he saw on the Internet, which was factually incorrect, and he had to apologize yesterday. Are you familiar with this story?
Yes, I am. But also, remember, on Friday morning, he's the one who came out first and said there was no cyber attack. You remember, from crowdsourced, no cyber attack. There are still delays of Delta flights.
Still.
Thousands of them. Other problems.
You convinced me that morning.
And, well, actually, it was Nancy. Nancy, who is an e-attorney, who's had this happen to her before. Look, you would never have gone just based on my recommendation, right? You said, what does Nancy say? And I said, Nancy says it's a cyber attack. Did he apologize for that?
Eric Adams?
Yeah. He was the first to come out. No cyber attack.
If I'm looking for apologies from Eric Adams, I'm not starting there. But no, he did not apologize for that.
By the way, I always save breaking news for you, Sid.
Oh, we got breaking news.
I give you the hors d'oeuvre, and then I do the entree at 12 noon.
I thought Kevin Drosh with diarrhea from cheese in Milwaukee was a breaking news.
Let me tell you something. We'll be sitting shiva for him soon. Get the Hamantash and cookies ready. 103-degree fever, and he's not the only one. Noam Laden, I listened to all of his hour of his news broadcast. It was great, especially about the fish coming out of the sky.
What's that?
And almost killing these two people. It was great.
What are you talking about?
Well, your people used to talk to fishes up in Muncie. Remember that?
I do remember that,
Jews?
Yes.
You remember Hillary Clinton said, the fish talk to me. You got to vote for me, right?
She
you remember
did say that? Yes, she did.
Can I have the breaking news sound?
Breaking news, WABC.
Well, yesterday in the north end of Long Island, there were raids Tuesday morning. Two of them on the home of Linda's son and her husband. Now you say, who's Linda's son, right? No lady didn't know who that is. Who is the best with the Chinese community, the Asian community?
I think you're the best with any community in New York.
This one especially.
Yes, you are very strong with the Asians.
I won the Asian vote against Eric Adams, first Republican candidate ever to win the Asian vote.
Him.
Linda's son.
By the way, you couldn't help Susan Zwang
We're having a big march on Sunday. Wait till you see that march.
Okay, good.
Right down at Foley Square, starting at 12 noon. Come on out to support the Chinese on 86th and 25th Avenue who are blocking that homeless shelter.
Did she bite the cop's finger or not?
You'll have to ask her.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you'll have to ask her.
Okay.
What are you, Justin Brannon got into trouble.
No, I can't.
You're siding with Justin Brannon on this?
I got to tell you, I saw Justin Brannon on New York 1 2 days ago, and I really did want to punch him across the face.
You should.
I mean, no, I saw him at an event for Savarian a couple of weeks ago, and I was a gentleman.
That's because your friend who ran away from me.
Oliveira,
right? Who runs like everything over there for George Soros now. Right? I mean, it's George Soros who's bought them.
So who is this person, Linda's son?
All right. Notice, Noam didn't have it as part of his hour broadcast. Nobody else has had it. Linda's son, the Asian contact, fundraising for Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo and Kathy Holcomb.
For both of them.
And when Kathy Holcomb's office was asked for comments, no comment at this time. So remember, Sid, I always save the best for you, but if you want the entree to this, because you're not going to hear this story anywhere else, you got to listen to the Rick Ben Reed. There are people shivering their timbers today with Team Cuomo and Team Holcomb because they're saying, oh, my God, they got our Asian connection. Does this mean it's like Eric Adams with Winnie Greco? It's the red Chinese money syndrome. Curtis knows. Curtis knows. Listen at 12 noon to the Rip and Read. You will hear information like you don't hear anywhere else, because I know where all their political bones are buried and who buried them. All right, Kurt.
Talking about I play too much. Can a woman take advantage of what she wants? My head's moving oh so slow. Part-time looking like a condo. All I need is your hair right by my side. Take whatever you want, baby, let's ride. And whatever you want to, let me decide. Just put your name on the dotted line. We can get right. All the night is up, we can get right.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning. 77 WABC.
$7:45 now. Little Van Halen for you Wednesday morning. Big day today, folks. Once again, FBI Director Christopher Wray is going to testify today on the Trump assassination attempt. The day after, as you just heard from Bill O'Reilly, Kimberly Cheatle resigned. Coming up at 2 o'clock this afternoon, Bibi Netanyahu. Already two great guests today with Traiman, he's there, and Curtis. Bibi will address Congress. Coming up at 2 o'clock, a lot of House Democrats boycotting, not going to be there, including the lady now running for president, Kamala Harris. She'll be at a sorority party in Indianapolis. I'm not kidding you. And then 8 o'clock tonight, I swear to God, 8 o'clock tonight, the aforementioned Joe Biden will address the nation for the first time since he dropped out of the race. So it's a huge TV day for Sid Rosenberg and for most of you. My cousin Norm Coleman is in D.C. as well. He'll be watching BB too. So a lot going on. Two guys who I really like, two New York City cops. I love them, actually. John Chell and Kaz Daughtry, who had dinner last night. Yes, they did, like everybody else does, with Congressman Anthony D'Esposito, my guy, at the Capitol Grill in D.C. Those two guys were sworn in yesterday, and they will serve as Capitol Police today because we expect a lot of protesters, a lot. In fact, yesterday they tried to get in, and there were a bunch of arrests. It'll be worse today. So congratulations to Chell and Daughtry. And guess what? They're going to call me live from D.C. coming up next. Why? Because I'm the most important radio host in the country.
No sorority for you tonight.
No sororities, no. I'm doing real stuff.
What is that? What?
I don't even ask.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning. Entertaining and informative.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
Big speech coming your way today at 2 o'clock. I wish I was there. I'm jealous of Alex Traiman, Norman Coleman, and host Anthony D'Esposito, all of them, in D.C. for Bibi Netanyahu, Israeli Prime Minister, going to address Congress coming up at 2 o'clock. And you know what that means? That means Washington, D.C. needs more security, more cops, more Capitol Police. So we got 2 cops in New York City. We got more than 2. I love all you guys. I love all of you. Now, I'm friendly with a bunch of the New York cops. You know that. The Commissioner, Eddie Caban, very, very close with Transit Chief Mike Kemper. I've gotten very, very close with Chief of Patrol John Chell, Kaz Daughtry, all these guys. Well, 2 of these guys in particular went yesterday and were sworn in. This is huge. By the Capitol Police in Washington, D.C., and they're there today to help thwart any of these protesters' efforts to cause chaos. And they are my friend, Chief of Patrol John Chell, and Kaz Daughtry as well. John, Kaz, good morning, boys. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. How you doing?
Doing good. Nice to talk to you. John, let me start with you. First of all, congratulations. I know the House Republicans, who you're close with, guys like Anthony D'Esposito, Lawler, all those guys, very proud of you. And so am I. Look, this is a big deal today. Bibi, you know I'm very, very pro-Israel. I know for a fact they've got tons of protesters ready to wreak havoc on the Capitol. So, A, I'm proud of you, but B, how difficult a job is this for you guys, now members of the Capitol Police?
Well, we got sworn in yesterday, so we hold the powers in their jurisdiction. Obviously, that was key for us to do our job down here today. We're down here with about 214 cops and supervisors, anticipating 20,000 protesters. And wow. like I told the cops yesterday, just pretend that Washington, D.C. is Times Square. We know what the mission is. We know how to get the job done. We're representing the best agency in the country, if not the world. And let's help our brothers and sisters in D.C. protect the Capitol and protect their city. So we do this often. Just got to get used to the lay of the land, if you will. But the concept doesn't change. The philosophy doesn't change.
And how this works is you get sworn in yesterday. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this expires like in a day or 2, right?
It expires tomorrow. I think tomorrow afternoon. So. For the first time in my life, I got multi-powers in different jurisdictions in the United States.
That's awesome. Hey, Kaz, I would ask you this. You know, what John just said, it's a lot like Times Square. And you guys know I'm honest, okay? And you guys still love me, and I love you guys. And I believe that you guys are not able to do your job to the best of your ability, even though I readily admit you're the best police force in the world. I do believe New York has some rules that don't allow you to be as good as you can be. Does D.C. have the same rules? I mean, I'm under the impression if somebody steps out of line today, you can punch them right across the face.
No, Sid.
No. Damn.
We would not do that. And we do have the rules. We do have rules that will allow us to do our job in New York City, and they kind of have the same kind of rules down here, but this is more of on a federal level.
Yeah.
And I just want to address one thing, Sid, that we're getting criticized that, you know, why is the NYPD sending officers down to D.C.
Hold on, Kaz, who's criticizing you? I'm curious.
We're just my social media team is telling me that's a lot of stuff that they're seeing online.
Right.
And I would like to address that. First of all, number one, every officer that's down here in D.C. is on their day off, volunteer. So this doesn't affect our patrol numbers in the city. This doesn't affect that the city's paying officers to come down here. The federal government is paying for the officers that are down here, every last one of them, from the rank of PO all the way up. And secondly, every last officer that's down here is on their day off. So there's no officers that would take it out of a patrol command to come down here and assist the DC team, which is less than not even a percent of officers, but less than 1% is down here in DC. And secondly, the Capitol Police requested mutual aid. They requested help. They requested help from us, Sid. And these officers are patriotic. They want to come down here, and they're doing this not only because they want to do it because they want to help their brothers and sisters down in here in D.C., but they're doing it because they're patriotic, and this is what they feel that they're compelled to do.
You don't got to convince me. I commend both of you gentlemen. I really do. I think it's awesome that you're doing that today down there, protecting Bibi, protecting the Capitol, protecting the United States. I'm not surprised because I know what kind of cops you are here in New York, both of you guys, John and Kaz. So trust me when I tell you, I congratulate both of you. But, John, you gave me a number that was a little scary. You said you got about 214 cops there, and you said you may have upwards of 20,000 protesters. How was that a fair fight?
No, there's also I failed to mention there's other jurisdictions down here, from Fairfax County to other jurisdictions in Washington, Jersey. So we have a bunch of other agencies down here combining forces with the Capitol Police, with Metro PD. So we'll be fine. We got plenty of cops down here, and we know what we're doing.
Well, tell me this, both of you guys. Kaz, I'll go to you. I was just in Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention. You guys listen every morning, so you know I was there. And security was a little silly, to be honest. I couldn't even get to work in the morning. I understand that Trump had been shot 2 days before, and they were taking every precaution. I could appreciate that. But it got a little carried away. I couldn't literally get from block to block because there was security and gates and all that everywhere. What does the perimeter look like at the Capitol today, Kaz?
And I'm not going to go into specific security tactics down here, but the United States Capitol Police, along with the Metro PD and PD down here, they have a very robust, sophisticated security plan down here. And John, you could chime in. Just the tactical plan alone from the lieutenant that he gave us yesterday, probably the best I've ever heard in the 20 years I've been doing this job. I mean, wow. they got everything you could imagine, everything you could think of. They thought of it. And I'm looking at it right now as we speak. As I'm sitting in a car talking to you, Sid, it's coming to fruition.
Wow.
Yeah, Sid, the Capitol, as I learned yesterday, the Capitol grounds is 1 square mile. So they have this black fencing about 12 feet high, squarely wrapped in a box, protecting the Capitol grounds. Then we have some buffer zones, which are just traditional barricades that we use up in New York City. So very similar to what we do. Box ourselves in, frozen zones, and if our mission today is simple, really simple orders. Someone steps in a frozen zone, they're being arrested.
Right away. Right. Well, what else?
No ifs, ands, or buts. Very simple orders.
But on top of that, Kaz, like John just said, they step in the frozen zone, they're getting arrested. On top of the obvious, if they touch one of you guys, they're getting arrested. Any other protocol that says you must arrest them for doing this?
I mean, if we see them, committing acts of vandalism on our monuments down here in the Capitol, they're going to be arrested. So it's just the same thing. It's the same rules apply to New York City. Is being applied down here, but down here we're protecting the Capitol, and we got this SRG cops down here, strategic response group guys, and the pro-Hamas protesters, they know them very well, and I'm very sure that they're shocked to see them down here. And then we also have our community response officers down here, as well as some local patrol command officers that got crowd management experience, and they're down here, and they're on the front lines. They got a really hard post, probably one of the toughest posts that is down here, top 3 posts, and the nation's watching them, and we're not going to let these pro-Palestinian protesters hop over the barrier and cause an annoyance and alarm to His Excellency Benjamin Netanyahu when he's here addressing members of Congress. That's not going to happen, not on our watch.
Awesome.
And we're going to work with our federal partners and law enforcement partners to stop that, to mitigate any type of threat when they come over that barrier. They're going to jail.
Love it.
And Sid, you'll love this. The terminology is different, but the crimes remain the same. But at the end of the day, we have the universal thing called handcuffs that we all have down here. We're prepared, and we're prepared to use them.
Love it. I do love that, John. So, John and Kaz, how do you guys, you're NYPD. You're the biggest and the baddest. For all the criticism you guys get, and I'm never critical of you guys. I'm critical of, the powers that be. That's fine. But it takes me 1 millisecond to admit we have the best police force in the country. Right here, the NYPD. And I got to imagine when you guys go on the road to other places that not every cop in every city appreciates that. Or am I wrong? Are you guys like really one big fraternity, or do you find that some of these other folks aren't high on New York cops?
I tell you, Sid, no matter where we go, and I speak for Kaz on this one, we are all one big fraternity. We are cut from the same cloth. We share the same DNA, the same jokes. It really is remarkable. I feel very comfortable where we go around this country, let alone down here. Just the same group of guys and gals. We're special people. That's all.
Agreed. So, Kaz, now that you're down there today showing your true patriotism, both these guys, John Chell and Kaz Daughtry, and this thing expires tomorrow night, I'm going to assume this. If I'm wrong, correct me, Kaz, but I'm going to assume that you and Chell, two great Americans, two great patriots, will be back there in January of 2025 when they swear in my friend Donald Trump as the next president of the United States at the inauguration, yes?
Well, if requested, I think we were requested. I got to go back and go check. But if requested, we're going to help out. We're going to help out the Metro PD, Capitol Police down here again, the Secret Service, obviously, and the our Honorable Police Commissioner and Honorable Mayor Eric Adams has no issues helping out other agencies across the country if requested, and that's what we intend to do. We are professional. We got the best police department on the globe,
no doubt.
And as being shown today with the officers on the front line here, directly with the Capitol behind them, they're going to do their job, and they're going to do it admirably.
Awesome.
And Sid, it kind of started yesterday. We were crossing into the boundaries of the District of Columbia. We were here all of 5 minutes, and we looked up and we saw the Metro Police Department chasing a couple of car thieves.
No, really?
So we weren't sworn in yet, but we jumped out about 10 strong.
Yeah.
Grabbed one of the bad guys, and people were like, "Where did you come from?"
I love it.
I said, "We're just passing through, helping out our fellow brothers and sisters." So, and we hung around for about 20 minutes, shook some hands, told some jokes like cops do.
That's great.
Got back in our cars and said, "Have a great day, guys."
That is great. And you got a chance to see some of the politicians last night, enjoy the Capitol Grill. That's always fun. And look, it's a great town. It's a great town, and today's a major, major event. And I couldn't think of two better guys to have there protecting Bibi and all the folks from these protesters than you, John Chell, and you, Kaz Daughtry. Thank you so much for hopping on today. Thank you for this really selfless work you're doing today. I love both of you guys, and I'll see you guys when you get back. Thank you so much.
All right, Sid, strength and honor today.
All right.
Strength and honor.
All right, strength and honor. You heard that, folks, from John Chell and Kaz Daughtry. Strength and honor. Love it. Big 8 o'clock hour coming your way. Alan Dershowitz and Emily Austin and her 2 million followers live in studio. Noam Layden's got the news, then me with hour 3. Keep it right here.
You've been telling me you're a genius since you were 17. In all the time I've known you, I still don't know what you mean. The weekend in the college didn't turn out like you planned. The things that pass for knowledge I can't understand. Are you reeling in the years? Stowing away the time? Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine? Are you reeling in the years? Stowing away the time? Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine?
You're my best friend. This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
For my friends.
77 WABC.
Madam Vice President, you say you want to be the leader of the free world, and yet you can't bring yourself to sit behind our most important and strategic ally in this moment. That is not a good look for you. It's not a good look for America, and it's not a good look for her party that she aims to lead. So I think those are very important questions. I don't have the answers to those questions. Kamala Harris needs to provide them. How can she be expected to be viewed as the leader if she can't fulfill this basic responsibility? This is her duty. It is your duty as the vice president and the acting president of the Senate to sit in that rostrum and host a foreign leader for their joint session, their address to a joint session. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the history books, but this may be an unprecedented event. The vice president to decline that responsibility. I just think it's outrageous.
Boy, he right. I was with Mike Johnson. My cousin Norm Coleman held a big event for the Republican Jewish Coalition in Milwaukee last week, the same day that Trump spoke. And Mike Johnson spoke that day, the Speaker of the House. And he said, let me tell you something, folks. We're going to put this thing on Wednesday of next week. We're going to arrest people who try to stop it. And then he blamed Chuck Schumer for sitting on this for months. He said this would have happened months ago. But Chuck Schumer wouldn't give us the rubber stamp. So it is tonight, and Kamala Harris is in Indianapolis at a sorority party. I swear to God. And a boatload of House Democrats from all those anti-Semites, the squad, and there's like 7 members of the squad, folks. It's not 3. They're not going to be there. Alan Dershowitz is the greatest living attorney ever. He just is. He's a dear friend. I love him. And he's back. It's been a while. Last time we spoke, I think you were in Paris, Alan. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm good, except that I can't be at the event today with Prime Minister Netanyahu. He called me and invited me to sit in a place of honor, as I sat last time he spoke. Last time he spoke, I sat next to Elie Wiesel in the front row with Mrs. Netanyahu and Mrs. Wiesel. But unfortunately, in Paris, when I was speaking against the Iranian regime, some very prominent person fell over on me, knocked me over. I caught him, but I tore my hamstring.
Oh my God!
And I'm not able to be mobile. So I sent my great apologies, and I can't sit next to my friend Bibi, and I'm not going to be able to be there except in spirit. Now,
by the way, the time when you were there, that would have been like 2015. Is that right, Alan?
That's right.
Yeah.
And it was a great speech. You know, Charlie Rangel originally was not going to come, and the whole Black Caucus was not going to come. And I persuaded Charlie to come, saying, look, at least listen to him and then have a press conference afterward and criticize him. He then called me, Charlie Rangel did, and said, that was one of the greatest speeches I ever heard. Thank you for encouraging me to come. It was a great speech, and he praised it. But people like Liz Warren have been behind the scenes pushing very hard to make sure that Kamala Harris doesn't come. Liz Warren on the same day said she wouldn't come to listen to the Prime Minister of Israel, but endorsed the anti-Semite and bigot Cori Bush for Congress. Liz Warren has been one of the most disgraceful senators. I wish I were 20 years younger.
Yep.
I would have gone back to Boston and run against her.
No, she has been very vocal, but you know better, Alan. Kamala Harris doesn't need Liz Warren to motivate her not to come. I mean, we're going to do this because we do this all the time. If as bad as Biden was with Israel, and I don't know how you can defend him the last couple of months, he is 1,000 times better than Harris. You cannot tell me as a proud Jew that you think Harris is a friend of Israel, a friend of the Jewish people, telling people she's going to punish Bibi for going into Rafah, even though we saved hostages, telling people she needs a 2-state solution, telling people Israel is committing genocide. Nothing to do with Liz Warren. That's Harris, who's been saying that for the better part of 8 months.
Well, no, I agree that she has been less positive about Israel. Let's see who she appoints as vice president. That will be the test. If she appoints a pro-Israel person like Shapiro, that would be one thing. If she appoints somebody who supports, the Liz Warren branch of the party, the squad branch of the party, forget about it. Then it's war. And Israel is no longer a bipartisan
So you're basically look. Yesterday I had a young lady named Lizzie Savetsky in here, Alan. She's got about 400,000 followers. She's one of these social influencers from Israel. She's a lifelong Democrat. All of her buddies are rich Upper East Side Jews. And after 9 months of working on her, like I work on you, Michael Rappaport, and others, she said in studio yesterday, and I quote, "I'm there, MAGA 2024. Something she said 10 months ago, she would never even consider saying something as crazy as that. You're not there yet? Still?
Look, I think I would have a very, very hard time voting for the current Democratic Party. I'm not there yet voting for MAGA. Let's see what happens. I wasn't thrilled with the appointment of Vance. Although Vance has been supportive of Israel, he's generally not supportive of American involvement in foreign countries like Ukraine. Look, I'm up in the air. I'm not any longer associated with the Democratic Party. I think of myself as a liberal independent. I'm going to make up my mind based on the totality of the circumstances, and I will announce it on your show in October.
Thank you.
But there's no reason to rush to make an endorsement right now. I'm pushing away from the Democratic Party. Harris's nomination pushes me even further, and if she appoints somebody as vice president, that will push me even further. The fact that she's not coming to listen to Netanyahu, remember, Liz Warren didn't listen to Netanyahu in 2015. She walked out. She'd listen to Castro. She'd listen to Pol Pot. She'd listen to the head of Iran. She'd listen to any dictator from the hard left, but she won't listen to America's most important ally. She is a bigot. I've known her for 40 years, and I know that she's a bigot. And she is now a supporter of the biggest bigot in Congress, Cori Bush, a woman who doesn't deserve to be in Congress, who is an anti-Semite to the core, and who hopefully will lose in the primary. I would hope somebody would run against Liz Warren. But, this is Massachusetts, and Massachusetts will elect a ham sandwich if the ham sandwich is radical and leftist. So, we have a real problem in this country, and it's manifested by Harris's refusal to preside over the Senate. And her excuse that she had a prior commitment is nonsense.
Of course it is.
You eliminate prior commitments when the prime minister of an allied country comes to speak, and you have a constitutional obligation to preside. This is not just a tradition. This is in the Constitution itself, that the vice president presides, particularly over joint sessions. And remember, too, that ultimately, after a lot of back and forth, the Democrats also invited Netanyahu. He was invited by Schumer. He was invited by Jeffries. He was invited by Biden. And so there's no excuse anymore. And this is disgraceful that they won't listen to him. Let them listen and have a press conference afterward being critical. Fine, but listen. And don't walk out. Don't show your time for Israel. Remember, Netanyahu coming as an individual. He's coming as the representative of the nation state of the Jewish people. And I think you're right. It's unprecedented for the president of the Senate not to preside over an event like this. And anybody who thinks that it's not for political purposes, of course it is. She doesn't want to alienate the hard left. She doesn't want there to be an ad that shows her presiding next to Netanyahu. It's okay to meet with him privately because, all right, that's a private meeting. Maybe there won't even be any TV cameras there. Who knows? But maybe there will be. But what I'm so upset about is her making a public declaration that she won't preside over that. You may be right. She would have done it without Liz Warren, but I want to hold Liz Warren. She was my senator, my colleague for many years. When she decided to run for the Senate, she came to me and she said, Alan, I don't know anything about the Middle East. I don't know where the West Bank is. Give me a tutorial. And so I sat with her and I gave her my book and I gave her a tutorial. And she hasn't changed anything. She's gotten worse. She is closed-minded, bigoted, anti-Israel, anti-Zionist.
She's also a liar. She tried to sell herself as a Native American, which she's not. So she's a liar. But I do want to ask you, in terms of legal terms, Kamala Harris is now the nominee. That's it. She's got thousands of delegates. She's raised It's pretty eye-opening. I had Lara Trump on yesterday. $126 million already. She's the presumptive nominee. As far as I know, that is not the Democratic process. When Joe Biden stepped down, you don't just anoint Kamala Harris. You go through a process. Or am I wrong here?
No, you're right, but it's the party's process, and the party has the right to change their rules. They're not the government, so they could do that. Now, there are limits. If the party issued a statement saying we will no longer consider any black person or gay person or Jewish person, obviously the courts would have something to say about that. But how they select their nominee and their delegates probably would lose in court. I think it's a good political issue. I don't think she should have been anointed. I think she should have gone through a process by which the public and the Democratic Party decides people like me could vote against her. But that was not a decision that was made. The Democrats decided to anoint her, and they have to pay the political consequences for that. Let's wait and see how she does in the debates. Let's wait and see who she nominates to be vice president. That, to me, is going to be a key issue, who she nominates to be vice president. And if she was smart, she would throw that open at the convention. She would say, look, I'm not somebody who was elected to be your nominee, so I'm not going to do the traditional thing of naming the vice president, because I don't really have the authority to do that.
Right.
I'm going to leave it to the delegates. Let's see who you want to be vice president.
She ain't going to do that.
Sometimes be afraid of what you wish for.
She ain't going to do that. She's actually, what do you think about the fact that they've actually already hired Eric Holder to vet these individuals?
Yeah. Eric Holder has had his own problems in the past. Obviously, he refused to comply with subpoenas. He was the attorney general who declared himself to be loyal and kind of the right-hand man of Obama. And then the Democrats complained when Trump said he wanted an attorney general who was loyal. Look, the job of the attorney general is difficult because on the one hand, you're supposed to be a loyal member of the cabinet trying to help your guy get reelected. On the other hand, you're supposed to be the independent prosecutor. We're the only country in the Western world that merges those two roles, which is why we need special counsel.
Yeah.
No other country needs special counsel like that.
Yeah, and, well, the special counsel, Jack Smith, that worked out well. And I do want to get to the last thing on Trump with you, but this FEC, the Trump administration saying, wait a second, not only should she not be anointed as the nominee, but all this money, all this war chest that Joe Biden has, she can't be taking that. Is there any teeth to that one?
Well, that's an interesting issue because, of course, the money that we're talking about is the money of individual donors that can be used for campaign. It's not the money that goes to PACs. There's money, a lot of money goes to PACs, but that can't be used directly to campaign. It's always used indirectly for the candidates. But this is small contributions, and so it's a big deal, and there'll probably be a lawsuit. It's, none of these things have precedent. So you're asking me, I know a lot about past precedents, but when there's no precedent, there's no cases on this, it could go either way.
Right. And talking about cases and precedents, Alan, you wrote this book, Get Trump, and I'm going to give you an immense amount of credit because before the indictments, before all the issues, you said they're out to get him, and they went after him hard. Now, we know, of course, that he lost a case in New York, but the good news is they have now postponed the sentencing, and with the immunity decision ending up going his way, it looks like, Alan, all these potential disasters, all of them for Donald Trump, may all go away, right?
Well, I sure hope so, because none of them are valid. Not a single one of them is valid. And, the Democrats claim that the Republicans are going to destroy democracy. That's a claim. But the Democrats have already destroyed democracy by going after Trump unlawfully, unconstitutionally. The New York case is going to go down in history as the worst criminal prosecution in American history. The worst. No basis whatsoever in the law or in fact. They made it up. It's Stalin and Beria sitting together saying, show me the man, I will find you the crime. The worst instance of political abuse, violation of the rule of law, the violation of democratic principles. So don't lecture me about what the Republicans are going to do. If the Republicans do it, I'm going to fight it as strongly as I fight when the Democrats do it. Right. But the Democrats have no standing to object to what Trump is doing when they have done something even worse, going after Trump in New York and the way they did is the worst abuse of the rule of law I've seen in my 60 years of practicing law.
Wow. And twice, too, by the way, Letitia James also. I want to circle back to the beginning of this conversation and then wrap it up. And you sound great. I know your hamstring hurts, but you sound as brilliant and terrific as ever. Bibi speaks today. There's a lot of folks who want Bibi to say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a ceasefire. I'm going to get the hostages home, even though he doesn't have the hostages. The bad guys have the hostages. They don't realize that. And then there's people like me who want to hear, listen, here's how it's going to go. We are going to finish this war. We want to bring the hostages home, but we're going to destroy Hamas and keep Israel safe, whether it's Judea and Samaria or Gaza or the North, for the next 1,000 years. What do you think Bibi does today?
I think he focuses mostly on Iran. Because that's been his issue. And I think that's an issue where Republicans and Democrats can agree. He's going to show how close Iran is to becoming a nuclear arsenal state that exports terrorism around the world.
By the way, to your point, the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, said just last week that Iran is not a year or two away, but a week or two away.
Yeah. No, they can make the decision at any time to do it. And Israel can make the decision at any time to go after them and seek to destroy it. Let's remember also, to be fair, that Trump denied Israel the right to have bunker-busting bombs when he was president, and the bunker-busting bombs are necessary to destroy the Iranian nuclear facility. So let's hope if Trump gets reelected, he'll reconsider that and give Israel the bunker-busting bombs, which would allow them, without the help of the United States, to go and make sure that they and the rest of the Middle East and the rest of the world is safe from a nuclear-armed Iran.
Fair.
So I think that's going to be the thesis of his speech. I was hoping he could announce perhaps maybe an agreement that had been reached to get the hostages home. But as both Biden and Blinken have said, it's only Hamas that is stopping some kind of a deal from being made. Israel has agreed to the deal. The United States has, Egypt has, even Qatar has. Hamas hasn't, and yet the New York Times and others blame Netanyahu for not reaching the kind of deal that Netanyahu has already said he was willing to sign off on if Hamas is willing to do it, which they haven't been willing to do. So let's point the finger at the right target, Hamas, not at Israel and Netanyahu.
Alan Dershowitz, I love you dearly. You were great again today. Thank you as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
always
my friend.
Pleasure to be on.
Oh, come on. I love you. I really do. I enjoyed that speech today. Coming up at 2 o'clock, unfortunately, Alan can't be there. He's got a torn hamstring. That's what happens when you're round third without watching the center fielder, Lewis.
At his point, to have a torn hamstring is a cool thing.
I think it's kind of cool, too.
If I could tear my hamstring, so I'm close to it anyway. So,
well, he's almost 86. He's got a couple years on you.
Just a couple.
But he's still a genius. Man, is he a genius.
Alan Dershowitz on the IR. That's pretty cool.
I know. He's on the IR. How about that? We got a lot more to do. Rich Lowry in the 9 o'clock hour. And then coming up in about 10 minutes, she's got 2 million followers. She's beloved. She's on that Greg Gutfeld show all the time. She's on with Piers Morgan all the time. She's a Nassau County resident who's become a major star and was in Milwaukee with all of us last week. Emily Austin, live in studio. She coming up. Come on.
The thrill is gone. It's gone away from me. The thrill is gone, baby. The thrill is gone away from me. Although I'll still live on, but so lonely I'll
This is Sid and Friends in the morning. 77 WABC.
And you ask me what I want this year, and I try to make this kind and clear. Just a chance that maybe we'll find better days. 'Cause I don't need boxes wrapped in strings and designer love and empty things. Just a chance that maybe we'll find better days. So take these words and sing out loud, 'cause everyone is forgiven now. 'Cause tonight's the night the world begins again.
That's my boy Resnick and the Goo Goo Dolls, cause tonight's the night the world begins to end. Better Days by the Goo Goo Dolls. You know, I just saw that racist jerk-off. He's such a jerk-off. Errol Lewis. He was actually on CNN and New York 1 at the same time. Unbelievable how they do that.
Always hilarious.
What a dickhead. God, I hate him. Hate him. Emily Austin's coming up next. I do want to thank Rosanna Scotto, Channel 5 star, for hosting our men's dinner last night. It's a great time. Keith Kantrowitz, love you. Anthony Carone, Big Mark Oranger. We had Andy was there last night. Chris was there last night. Well, I always felt badly. I feel like I'm leaving people out, but we had a couple of Channel 5 superstars there. Briella Tomasetti stopped by. You know who stopped by? The great Inez Rosales. You know Inez?
No.
One of the nicest people in New York.
I'm sure.
She's such a sweet girl.
She looks like it.
Very nice.
But I'm going to question the authenticity of this men's dinner.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
What do you mean authenticity?
Well, what's the name of it?
The name of the place?
No, the name of
the men's dinner? Right. Yeah, I mean, it's really for the guys. Every now and then a woman will stop by, say hello, but we're not putting women at the table every single time.
Well, thank God.
Yeah.
That would just.
But we're very famous. You know, when people walk by, they go, "Oh my God, that's Sid Rosenberg."
So, who else did they do that with? Did they stop and say, "Oh my God, that's Mike"?
Not really.
My question.
Well, you know who they do it with? Governor David Patterson. He comes every time.
Right. Well, if he's there,
he's hilarious. The governor too. That's a funny guy. And Deanna Woolman was there last night. Big time PA.
Do you grab his dessert when he's not? No, I guess not.
Well, the funny thing is, I say to the governor, I go, the Mets. He's a Met fan, big Met fan. I go, the Mets are beating the Yankees 3-2. And then like 20 minutes later, he goes, the Mets are still winning 3-2. And I go, how the hell do you know? He goes, I just saw it on my phone. I go, what do you mean? So you're blind? Then he goes, this is the best part. At one point, he's talking about the Democrat Party, and he's embarrassed. Something happened. He got embarrassed. He takes a napkin and he puts it over his eyes. I said, Mr. Governor.
I got one question.
Why would you need that? Emily Austin's next.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
For my friends.
77 WABC.
I guess I should know by the way you parked your car sideways at a wooden last. You're the kind of person who believes in making out once, love them and leave them fast. Guess I must be dumb. She had a pocket full of horses, Trojan and some abuse. But it was Saturday night. I guess that makes it alright. You see, what have I got to lose?
Now, this is a great song, Prince, Little Red Corvette, and I have a bunch of guests now that come into the studio, and they're all very young, like my daughter's age, but very smart and pretty, all that stuff, Emily is one of them, and I'm always thinking to myself, does she even know these songs? But put a microphone
specifically.
On. You do
this
know
one
this song.
Specifically, I did not, but I know his song, obviously Purple Rain.
You didn't know this one?
No, but it's good.
It's good.
I was trying to Shazam it, but it's in my earphones. So I can't.
So you know Purple Rain.
I know.
How about When Doves Cry?
No, I know that. It goes, I would die for you.
That's it.
I think it's called I Would Die for You.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's so odd, isn't it? Emily is, what are you, 22?
23 now.
23. But I got to tell you, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
You're very diverse. I'm serious. One night you can be on with Gutfeld, who's not funny. The next night...
He's very funny.
He's horrible. The next night you could be on with Piers Morgan. The next night you can be doing a boxing match in Philadelphia. The next day you can be in Israel standing outside an apartment that just got bombed by an Iranian drone. Yeah. I mean, you have done so many things. And, of course, with all of that, you remain one of the strongest voices in the world for Israel today. So
thank you. I mean, it's challenging because initially, and I think the world's in a very different place than 4 years ago, everyone said you will not be able to have a political opinion and do sports.
Who's everybody?
Like professors, classmates, agents, managers.
I was told the same thing, but I bucked the odds.
So that's what I'm saying. I believe cancel culture is like if you allow it to happen. So, for example, I've been, losing jobs or getting canceled online for my political opinions in the sports field, but you just keep going.
But you were like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But then was it the Mike Tyson story that got you back into the good graces of boxing?
No, boxing is a very conservative sport, I'd say.
Yeah.
You can't be a sensitive person and watch people punch each other in the face. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, look, literally, I'm walking around, I'm wearing a Trump shirt.
I love
with
that
a middle
shirt.
finger.
With a middle finger.
Like if you pull down the pocket.
But she's got the pocket that blocks the middle finger. Yeah,
because only
great.
select people get to see that.
Where'd you get that?
I think Etsy.
Love
I
it.
just searched
Etsy.
like Trump merch and then I bought it.
Trump merch on Etsy.
But point being, I think today, if you just assert yourself and you're like, listen, this is my opinion, you're not going to bully me for believing so, and you just stick with it, people have to accept it.
But you're right. Boxing, and then look who spoke. And you were in Milwaukee with me.
Yeah, Dana White.
Dana White.
Amazing.
Are you a big UFC person, too?
I like it. I want to meet Dana, actually. I want to start
You never
doing
met
UFC.
Dana?
No, never.
Are you telling me last week you met James Flippin, but not Dana White?
I did not. I never was even in the same room as Dana White.
Really?
Yeah, bizarre.
Would you want to do stuff at UFC
Yeah,
also?
absolutely.
Are you a UFC fan? Do you know the fighters and all that?
Yeah, I keep up because boxing and UFC correlate. Like a lot of them kind of.
Yeah. So you had a fight in Philadelphia last week, and you're in Detroit on Saturday, right?
I'm going tonight after the show. I'm going to head back to Long Island. And yeah, there's Clarissa Shields fighting this weekend. She's the GOAT, apparently.
It's a woman's fight.
Yeah. The undercard has men, but the main fight's the woman. Clarissa's
always?
Cool.
All the fights you do?
No. Last week was Jaron Ennis.
Right. I saw that.
Cool.
Yeah. Tell you how old I am.
Shoot.
I'm so old that they started women's boxing when I started to do sports talk radio. And I actually saw on a Mike Tyson undercard Christy Martin fight.
I don't know who that is.
Of course you don't, because you're 23 years old. She was the real first woman fighter. And after that, like Muhammad Ali's daughter fought, Layla Ali,
that I know.
all those ladies. You would never want to fight, though, right?
No, because I can't imagine, like, breaking my nose or, like, my jaw. It's very violent.
Emily, you're blonde. You got makeup on. You don't want to mess up your face.
No, but I want to tell you something.
Yeah.
There's a woman. Her name is Sky Nicholson.
Yeah.
She was on the undercard in Philly. Gorgeous girl.
Yeah.
I was looking at her. I'm like, you're really going to go out there and get your face bashed in? But she came out untouched. It looks like she didn't even get hit once.
Is that right?
Beautiful girl. It was very confusing, I have to tell you.
My face wasn't so good after my fight against Bernard. Plus, I sat at the diner in Tenafly and had no idea what I was doing there. And the waitress walked over and said, "You're going to order?" And I'm looking at her like she had like 10 eyes. I'm like, what does that mean? Like I was completely knocked out.
You have to just be a different breed of a human being to allow yourself to get punched repeatedly in sensitive places.
Well, I'm glad you said that because that's going to take us to a quick break. We'll be back for the nice long segment because there's a person that's been happening to for the better part of 8 years. It wasn't physical until Butler, Pennsylvania 2 weeks ago. And his face is on your shirt. We'll come back with Emily Austin and talk about a guy that literally has been taking a beating every day for the better part of 10 years. Our hero, Donald Trump, with the great Emily Austin, right after this.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning. Entertaining and informative.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
whatever I do in November, I'm going to go into the little voting booth. I'm going to feel bad about no matter what I do.
Right.
And I'm going to then put the hands up and pray to God that I don't regret whatever choice I made.
Right.
And F it, MAGA 2024.
Emily Austin, how many shows did you go on would actually play the song that you wanted to hear by Prince?
Zero.
Right. That's how much we love you. Emily Austin is here this morning, and you heard that from Lizzie Savetsky. She's got 380,000 followers, not your 2 million, but she's big. You know her.
Yeah, Lizzie's the best.
I've been working on her for 9 months. Stop with the Democrats. Stop. That was her yesterday. She's taken such a beating. All of her followers were leaving. What a bunch of... And they're Jews, Emily.
I know. After my Gutfeld appearance, I went through my DMs, as always. And usually it's like 99% nice. I had so many people with their profile picture being an Israel flag DM me unfollowed.
Why?
And I'm like,
what did you say on Gutfeld?
That I like Trump.
Oh,
that I'm voting for Trump.
Oh, yeah, but you've been saying that for a while,
I
no?
guess it's news to some people. Listen, I've been more vocal lately, obviously, in light of the election. I've been like going to the RNCs and speaking about it and wearing Trump shirts.
You were great with Politico. I saw you. You were terrific. My guy James Filippi interviewed you. You were terrific. You were great.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, like, okay, yes, America first is the agenda, but you have to be brain dead if as a Jewish person you are voting for... I'm going to put Biden in air quotes because we can all agree Biden's on his deathbed. And I'm not saying this as a diss.
Right.
I feel horrible. I don't make fun of him, if you notice.
Right.
So let's just say Kamala for now, or Jill, whoever's running the show. If you put a vote in their hands, you are the Jew walking into the gas chamber. Cancel me for saying it. Like, America will be inhabitable for Jewish people if you vote for the Democrats right now. This next election is going to make or break Jewish life in the U.S. So unless y'all all want to move to Israel, which is very expensive, be my guest. Otherwise, we can't live here.
Well said. This is why Emily's on TV all the time. You're right. Yet. Kamala Harris, what has she done since she's vice president?
I'll tell you what she's done. Hold on.
Go ahead.
In light of the rise of anti-Semitism, post-October 7th, she made an initiative to combat Islamophobia.
To combat what?
That's what Islamophobia.
Which doesn't exist. You realize that. It's kind of like white supremacy.
Right.
You have like one incident of Islamophobia while 19 Jews get punched in the face at the same exact time. So you're right.
I cannot believe she's
the worst. Oh, forget it. So, and now you've got Jewish people going, well, wait a second. Your friend, Donald Trump, your so-called friend, because he's not capable of having any friends, he likes the Nazis. If I hear this one more time, I'm going to punch you across the face, not you, Emily. When he was in Charlottesville, he said, they're right, there are nice people on both sides. But the very next thing he said, which MSNBC cuts off.
Of course.
Except the Nazis.
Right. Listen, the people comparing him, the Democrats are pulling a play out of Hitler's playbook by dehumanizing him and comparing him to Hitler over and over again. And then we question how could an assassination attempt happen? When you villainize and make Donald Trump out to not be a human being, even though he's 10 times more of a better person than Biden will ever be, of course something like this will happen. And then they don't even take accountability for their dehumanizing language.
Sure. Well, you're a horrible person because you're a woman. Oof. And you're a woman trying to improve your status in America. Here we have a woman just like you. Same thing. Same body parts, vagina, the whole thing. And
thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, just good. And a black woman. And you're not going to vote for her? What kind of horrible woman are you?
I don't like hiding behind. I don't like that everything has to be about race. Like, I'm sure Kamala.
Or
gender, exactly. Like this whole DEI outrage about the bodyguards for Trump, it's not because she was a woman. If that woman looked like Brittany Griner, she's qualified to be a bodyguard. Okay, you can't have a 5'4" woman guarding the president.
Right.
It's not because she's a woman, it's because she's not 7 foot and big. That's a bodyguard. It has nothing to do with gender. But they like to make it about gender and make it about skin color when it's not. Because it promotes their agenda.
Does Trump know you?
No.
Have you ever met the president?
No.
Oh, we have to make that happen. He'd
I'd
love
love
you.
to.
Oh, we have to make that happen. So you were in Milwaukee last week, and then you leave Milwaukee. And you guys know this, Lou, because she called in on Friday. She leaves Milwaukee and goes right to Israel.
Yeah.
and you're in Israel maybe a day or so, and I hear that some drone hit a building and a civilian died, and I called you, and you're great. You picked right up, and I said, would you call in today? And you called in last Friday from Tel Aviv, and if I remember correctly, you were not staying far from where that terrorist attack happened.
I was a couple buildings away on the beach in Tel Aviv, and I had blasting earphones in because I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
And suddenly you feel like almost a vibration.
You felt it?
Yeah. Everybody thought it was like a really big bus crash or a car crash, like something vibrational. And then you start to hear sirens, and you see a fire, and you see a lot of chaos break out.
You saw that.
You saw like sparks, and then even the rubble from the building hit then the bar next door. It was a bigger thing than just the apartment building.
Wow.
And it's crazy when you don't know what's going on. You know, it's if they just said, okay, this happened and X amount of people died and it's terrible. But when you don't know, it's like, okay, is this a one-off attack? Is this like another exchange of missiles going back and forth?
So you're nervous? Were you nervous?
Oh, yeah.
You are.
I was scared my parents would be like, hey, let's go home. But I was leaving anyway.
Oh, your mom and dad were with you?
Yeah, they're still there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I went with my whole family.
Your father adores me.
He does. He's been listening to you longer than I'm alive, probably. Actually, no, longer than I'm alive.
What is your father's name again?
Ron Austin.
Ron, that's right.
Yeah.
So I didn't know they were there because when I spoke to you the next day, you were hanging out with the Hamas's leader's son.
Mossab. I love Mossab.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the best.
He actually turned out to be quite a guy, considering where he came from.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
No, he's so cool. He's so smart.
Yeah.
Poor guy. When we hang out, I just interrogate him for hours.
You do.
I go to him, so what's Gaza like? And he's like, I'm from Ramallah. And I was like, I don't know.
When you were there with a lot of reports about the North, or you far enough removed, didn't really feel any of that? Or?
Everyone feels it. So I'll give you a silly example. I was in the cab going to McDonald's because I only eat McDonald's in Israel because I keep kosher. So every day I eat McDonald's. It's
Is that
funny.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a kosher McDonald's?
Yeah, in Israel.
Even the chicken McNuggets are kosher?
Yes.
The filet of fish?
Everything.
Get out of here.
Of course, it's Israel. So anyway, my cab driver on the way, he was like, are you okay? You're staying close to where the missile hit. I said, yeah, isn't that crazy? And he goes, this is every day in the North and the South. Why is it a bigger deal when it's in Tel Aviv? Like, this is Israel's reality every day. I said, you're right. I mean, just for comparison, it's like a missile hitting Long Island versus Manhattan. It's just population density.
Right.
But he's like, just know there are people in the North and South living what you just saw last night every day. And he was right. And it was a crazy thought to think about.
So do you wish you were in D.C. today to see Bibi Netanyahu?
Yeah, yes and no. I can't imagine the chaos that's going to erupt today.
Yeah.
I don't envy people who are there. I'm excited to watch it on TV. I mean, I'm very disappointed, not surprised, but disappointed that the despicable Chuckles Kamala Harris is like not showing up. Like,
a lot of Democrats aren't showing up.
You know what? I'm happy she did that. So any Jew who still thinks it's appropriate to vote for her will now see what she just did.
Oh, they're going to be there. Go on Facebook this afternoon, and you're going to see, I'll give you Ron Schwartz. I'm with her. Sid Rosen. I'm with her.
And it's so funny that everyone's like, you're just saying it 'cause she's a woman. I'm going to run for president too. So it's not about gender here.
Yeah.
It's just about A, her accolades. She has nothing.
Zero.
B, her only task as VP was secure the border. Let me see what a good job she did with that.
Failure.
Why the hell would anyone vote for her as a president?
I don't know.
Other than the fact that she's a black woman.
Correct.
That's actually her strongest asset.
That's the best thing going. That's it. Did you just say you're running for president one day?
Now listen, I'm 23, so how many years do we have left?
Wait, is that what you aspire
I would
to
so
do?
run. Oh, yeah.
No kidding.
I think I don't know if I'd run for Congress, maybe for Senate.
Yeah.
And then when I'm like older,
would you
maybe
like-
senile, I'll run.
On what?
Maybe when I'm old and senile, I should run for president.
Yeah. Would you do anything radical? Would you legalize something crazy? Would you? You're very conservative, so probably
I'm
not.
conservative, but I'm not like extreme. Like I'll tell you what, as a Jewish person, and I get so much heat for this. I'm very anti-abortion. I don't believe it's the right thing to do.
Okay.
But I also don't think it's appropriate to tell other people what to do.
Right.
Especially, I think it's a sin. That's your problem with God.
Got it.
Another thing, I'm very anti-vax.
Well, I've sinned a couple
my body,
times.
my choice. Like,
Right.
why is my body my choice only abortions, but it wasn't for the vax?
You're
That's
right
very
about
hypocritical.
That. You're right.
So
You're right.
I'm conservative, but I don't love the.
But you're still
titles.
pro-life. You're pro-life.
Yeah,
I'm
personally.
pro-choice. I'm pro-choice.
No, I think abortion should be allowed, which, by the way, everyone's like, as a woman voted for Trump, you're taking that away. How many times did Trump say he's not banning abortion?
100 times.
Like, 100. Clear, no way to misinterpret it.
Kamala Harris still goes on there yesterday and says he's going to ban abortion.
But he said he's not. 100
true.
times.
Yeah. Well, it's great to see you, and have a safe trip to Detroit. And when you come in, we get very, very big numbers. People love you.
Thank you.
So
I love you guys, too.
Yeah, we love you. So keep coming in. Enjoy Michigan. It's a horrible place, but you're getting paid. And then we'll see you when you get back, okay?
Yes,
absolutely. There she is, folks, the great Emily Austin. Follow Emily Austin today, and when you become the 3 million follower, she's going to buy you McDonald's and Tel Aviv. That's a deal. How about that? Emily Austin. We'll be right back.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning. Entertaining and informative.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
We'll be in your show plenty because you have a great show and you have big ratings, Sid. I don't even know if you know how good your show is, okay? But you have big ratings and you have a great show and you've been my friend for a long time and I appreciate it.
Thank you, President Trump. I am your friend. That's my man, President Trump. Talk to Rich Lowry coming up. I saw Lowry in the airport in Milwaukee. You know, hi, Rich. Yeah. So the Olympics starts on Friday, and I've never been a big fan of the Summer Olympics. I like the basketball, obviously, and I remember that first Dream Team with Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullin, Barkley, all those guys. But I haven't followed it, a long time. And it turns out that LeBron James, who I give a lot of credit as a basketball player to, people annoy me. If they don't like LeBron James, they find a way to criticize his game. That's stupid, okay? It's stupid. If you don't include big men, Kareem, Wilt, blah, 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 the two best players ever are Michael and LeBron. That's it. Not up for discussion. That's it. Now, I don't like him either. I think he's a dick. But he's a great player. But it is going to be uncomfortable for me, just for me, to watch LeBron wrapped in an American flag in Paris. Because when I think of great Americans, I don't think of LeBron James. When I think of great basketball players, I think of James. Great Americans, I'm not sure I think of anybody in the NBA currently.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Try to name a great American.
Currently, I can't. Steve Kerr, the coach of the Warriors, hates his country. Greg Popovich, coach of the Spurs, hates his country. Jeff's brother, Stan Van Gundy, who, God bless him, has gone through a tragedy the last couple of months, and I feel horrible for him. He hates his country. And the NBA's the worst. So, I'm not all excited about that, but I'm still going to watch it. But I don't swimming bores me. Who was the other doofus who won 90 gold medals? He smokes weed and almost kicked him off the Wheaties box a couple years ago. Michael Phelps?
Yes, Phelps.
Phelps.
Yes.
Yeah, he was like the modern-day Spitz, I guess.
So did he win more than Spitz did?
I think he did. I
think he's the leader in...
And then the running, the track and field. I don't know. Carl Lewis is the last guy I remember. But, see, I love the Winter Olympics because I know this is going to sound unmanly, but I love figure skating. I love it.
No, it sounds very manly.
Shut up, Lou. Brian Boitano was spectacular. I loved him.
Hamilton?
Scott Hamilton?
He's the best.
Scott Hamilton was in studio with me one day, and I said, I have to tell you, you're the greatest gay athlete ever.
I remember this moment.
Now, what was the problem with that, Noam?
He's not gay.
He's not gay.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great moment.
Yeah, well.
That's like congratulating a woman on being pregnant when she's not pregnant.
Pretty much.
Oh, my
so,
God.
But the better part is, I actually argued with him. He goes, I'm not gay. He goes, Scott, please. He goes, I got 4 kids. I go, so what? So does Chris Russo.
I bet Jan Wenner did too.
Yeah. But I like all that stuff. I like, remember when Eddie the Eagle broke every bone when he tried to do the long. Now, I know I'm going back a long time. That German chick, Michelle Wee, was smoking hot. Eric Heiden, You know, that's all one Olympics. It's like 30 years ago. I haven't watched it since. I think that guy Apollo Ono turned me off or something. But anyway, so the Olympics start Friday. You excited? No.
Oh, ecstatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to cover it, you know. They want you to cover it here.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for LeBron James to come down with the flag, you know. The whole
That's going to be nauseating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't we have, like, somebody, seriously, like a gymnast or?
You would think so.
What happened to Mary Lou Retton? She almost died, I know.
She is. She's sick, isn't she?
She's very sick, yes.
Yeah, she had a thing with pneumonia.
And then you had Kerry Strug. Remember her? She was on 90210 Beverly Hills.
She was great on 90210.
She was not great. She had the most annoying voice ever. the most annoying voice ever. So. But all these references, you can tell I haven't watched the Olympics in like 30 years.
Right.
For a big fan, I don't remember any name for the last 20 years, not one.
Isn't Simone in it?
Simone Biles, yeah.
That's it for me.
She is a quitter. She quit on us last Olympics.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she got the twist.
She quit.
Yes.
She's a quitter. I don't want to hear it.
Okay.
I'm going to say it right now. Nobody wants to hear it. Not a good idea to criticize black females these days, right, Kamala? Biles is a quitter. Even James Filippi
he
is.
just turned around and
he shakes his head. Yeah, shook it.
Saluting you.
Yeah. I got to hang up. I got to talk to Rich Lowry, but I did go over the guest list last night at Scotto's Fresca restaurant, and Dina Woman, who was terrific. She's a big PA. You know, that is a
public address announcer.
That's exactly right. She does the Jet games. Yeah. Public advocate, I guess. That would be the one. So she never met this crew before, and she was great last night. She was great. And again, her and Inez and Briella Tomasetti, who's a big star on Channel 5, and all the guys were great. So they're all listening this morning. So we appreciate that. Thank you for listening. We'll take a short break. When we get back, he's the editor of the National Review. You see him on Politico, NBC, just about everywhere. And I saw him as my flight was getting canceled in Milwaukee last week. My dear friend Rich Lowry coming up next.
I woke up this morning and the hair them stairs were blue. Well, I looked over in the corner, baby. Grandma seemed to have them too.
Sid and Friends in the morning. 77 WABC.
The Romantics, I hear the secrets that you keep when you're talking in your sleep. Hey now. Watching Elise Stefanik on television. I saw Elise speak at the convention last week. It was a highlight of the week. One of them, her husband and her little boy, Sammy, is a cute little boy, cheering her on when she spoke. I think that was last Tuesday night. Rich Lowry, I saw Rich in the airport in Milwaukee, and I felt real good about getting home that day. He didn't, but as it turned out, he did get home that day, and I was still in Milwaukee another day. You believe that, Rich?
Sid, it was a great convention. I was feeling great. Get to the airport. I see out the side of my eye this, like, exhausted wreck. I was like, I don't need any part of this. I don't know what it is. I just don't want to deal with it. Then I look a little closer. I was like, wait a minute. I mean, this guy, he looked beaten. He looked defeated. He looked like Joe Biden on his worst day. And I was like, it's Sid.
I was.
Down there. And then I deliver the news. I don't think we're getting out of here, Sid. And then I waltz onto my flight, and it turns out you're there until like 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
7 p.m. the next day.
And that's why I looked so beaten and defeated, because I was scared to death what was going to happen did end up happening. And I agree with you. It was a great convention. I loved it. I was feet away from Donald Trump 3 nights. I was on the floor. The energy was great. But when it was over, I really wanted to get out of Milwaukee, Rich. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, conventions are exhausting. They're inconvenient. You know, you're walking blocks through security. But it was a great convention. My one thing, by Wednesday, I just felt, I wonder if everyone's a little too optimistic, because people are giddy. I mean, they're just like, this is over. You just forget about it. And I do think it is a race again now.
Well, I think a lot of people think that you're a lot smarter than me. And I mean that sincerely. I'm not trying to be a wise guy. But I think you're wrong. I think in the short run, yes, evidenced by $126 million already, 3,000 delegates, they're excited. But that's going to wear off when the style has to translate to substance. Because, I'm going to say this because you won't. And a lot of folks argue you won't. She's stupid. I understand she's the vice president. I'll give her credit for reaching these heights. She is stupid. She can't talk without this nervous giggle, this cackling nonsense. She cannot tackle any of the issues. And she's pretty obvious in her disdain for a bunch of things that are important to Americans. So I believe in the short term, yes, you're right. It's very exciting. She will be exposed very quickly.
Yeah, she's off-putting, and the case against Biden was that he was old, incompetent, and a bad president. But there was an advantage to him being old. Now, I obviously pushed it too far, but you kind of look at him, you're like, that guy's not a radical. Didn't matter what he did that the left wanted, catering these pro-Hamas protesters, whatever. It just didn't look radical. And Kamala is a woke progressive from California, and she was way to the left in that Democratic primary. She's got the border. She got the entire Biden record around her neck on top of that. So I still favor Trump. I just think there was a electoral college landslide in the offing. Maybe, in today's terms, a popular vote landslide in the offing. I think that's off.
I agree with that.
It'll be a close race again.
I agree with that. Yes, right. I think he was going to kill Biden, and he ain't going to kill her. I agree with that. It's interesting to see her in Milwaukee yesterday, where you and I just were, Rich. And to have her talking about, you could put his record up against mine. I don't know what she's ever done, this lady. She puts a lot of black people in jail for smoking weed. I mean, I don't know. And then she's going on and on about how he's a convicted felon. I mean, yep. I put all these bad people away. I know people like Donald Trump, but I must tell you, she had no problem taking $5,000 from Donald Trump when he actually gave money to her crappy campaign.
Sure. So, and she's going to lean really heavy into the prosecutor thing, which she wanted to disappear when she was running in the primaries in 2020 and make that contract. I put people in jail and Trump deserves to be in jail. I just don't think people care about that critique of Trump very much. And she has a lot of things in her record to shoot at. So we'll see. She's getting a relief bump now, just a very 1 or 2 point bump. Just Democrats, okay, we don't have to be embarrassed by our nominee, stumbling around anymore. She might get a bump from the convention, and it could be tight nationally. She even could be ahead in national polls 3 weeks from now. But the thing is, she needs to be winning by 3 or 4 points nationally to win the Electoral College, and she's going to take a lot of incoming. And she's totally untested as a national commodity. I mean, one national campaign on her own, she fizzled out embarrassingly, and then she's been not a particularly impressive or popular vice president. So we'll see. But they're, the media is going to she's going to be on the cover of Vogue every month.
Oh, please. I've been saying for 2 days, and it's going to be offensive to some people, but that's why I'm number one. The media will turn her into, and I said this 10 times, Martin Luther King with a vagina. That's her. Martin Luther King. You can quote this. Put it in your place. Martin Luther King with a vagina.
Where's the T-shirt, Sid?
Yeah, it's coming.
T-shirt.
Trust me, it's coming. Which is ridiculous because Martin Luther King loved everybody, God rest his soul. He was a great man. And this lady, I mean, who does she love? I mean, can you make an argument? She's going to be at a sorority today in Indiana when the Israeli prime minister, our only real ally in the Middle East, is in Washington, D.C. How can you possibly explain that away?
Yeah, it's wrong and it's bad politics. What she needs to do, she needs to appeal to the middle, right? But she's never done that in her life. She's never had to do that in her life. So that's a big obstacle for her.
Huge obstacle, because you're right. He just appeals to the progressives. I mean, I just saw 5 minutes ago, Rich, on Fox News, Rashida Tlaib was crying because she was so moved that Kamala. So, and the
I know, they're crying when Biden got out. Now
right, I know. So the scroll read at the bottom of the screen, the squad endorses Kamala. Is that good?
Yeah, I mean, party unity, I guess. But look, you could watch Hillary Clinton for 5 minutes, know nothing else about her, and just say this is not a woman suited to winning a national election. Same thing with Kamala. So inauthentic. The laugh, the way she talks, it's really annoying. Maybe that shouldn't matter. Only issues should matter, but it matters hugely to people, and that's going to be another obstacle to her. So this is all why I favor Trump. Again, I think it's a race again, but he has the advantage.
A lot of people say to me, and it annoys me, I admit it. I have a couple of friends, and every text they send me is, he needs to be nice, right? And I always say, no, he needs to be, you just mentioned it, authentic. If Trump is in a bad mood that day and he wants to be a dick, let him be that guy. If he feels like being nice, like after he got shot, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in Milwaukee, he was calm, but he needs to be authentic. He can't be this phony nice because 2 or 3 independents want to see him that way. I don't want to see that. In other words, I want to see him kill Kamala. They're like, no. He's got to be careful. He's got to be nice. Why? She just called him a convicted felon 30 times yesterday. Why is it right? Why is he always the one who has to be the better guy? Why? Right? Am I wrong?
Your point about authenticity. And he's never not going to be himself. Even in his convention speech, which it did go on a little too long.
Agreed.
He could stick on the script a little bit, and he tried to keep the voice low, but he ended up being himself, right?
Right.
Predicting what the Packers are going to do. He's talking about Dana White and his vacation and how Crooked Joe, even though he wasn't supposed to mention his name, said his name twice when he wasn't supposed to say it because he mentioned it once. Then he mentioned it again to say he didn't really mean to mention it and wouldn't say it again. So, yeah, but he needs to be disciplined, and the way he has, I think, more than he has ever before, listen to the good people around him, Susie Wiles, Chris LaCivita, and the people I talked to in Milwaukee said he's been different, not just getting shot, but he's been different all during this campaign, just because he doesn't want 2020 to happen again.
Right.
And he realizes he needs to listen more. He's never going to listen entirely, but listen more.
I think he's definitely different. I could not agree more. And I speak to some of those same people, and there's a difference. And I can tell you this, when I had lunch with Trump back in March, I swear to God, Rich, I swear to you, we sat there for an hour, 5 guys at the table. He paid no attention to anybody else. And all he did was fire question after question. What do you think of Laura Ingraham? What do you think of Sean Hannity? What do you think of Vivek Ramaswamy? He must have asked me, this is on my dead father, I swear on him, he must have asked me about 50 people. I'm sitting there going, wait a second. You're going to be the next president of the United States. I'm a dopey radio host from New York. He asked me about everybody. So he is curious to know what other people think.
When I had lunch with him out at Bedminster last summer, same thing. Asked a lot of questions, and he'll give you that kind of penetrating gaze, like he's looking and listening.
Yeah.
And he was curious. It was during the Bud Light thing, and he doesn't drink, so it didn't occur to me afterwards. This is why he asked, but I was like, you can get any other beer that tastes better, and it's right there in the freezer. He's like, you can tell the difference between how they taste. I'm like, yeah, you can.
That's great. Oh, that's actually funny. And you're right, he doesn't drink because of his brother and all that, which is, I think, very nice. So what do you think she'll do for VP? Some people said, like Alan Dershowitz was on, he goes, well, I want to see if she picks for VP. If she picks Shapiro, it's because she knows she's not exactly pro-Israel. Let me get the Jew on the ticket. That's going to be phony. That's not going to be authentic. But what do you think she does?
I have no idea. I have no internal sources, obviously. But I think she should pick Shapiro. They got to win Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. It can be a debacle everywhere else. And they hold those 3 states. They win by 2 electoral votes by the skin of their teeth. And I think that's the most likely scenario. And he helps. If he helps by a point in Pennsylvania, it could make a difference.
Well, you mentioned Michigan, too. What about Whitmer?
Also a possibility. I don't know why she's not being talked about as much as some of the others. But, that's important, too. My ideal, wave a magic wand ticket for them would have been Shapiro Whitmer, and just all about the blue wall. Obviously, you couldn't do that, work your way around Kamala, but a blue wall pick makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, it was great to see you in Milwaukee. I was beaten and tired and kind of miserable, but you made me happy for a couple of minutes. You really did, bro, and it's good to have you back on today. You know I love you. Thank you, Rich.
All right. Love you, Sid.
Love you, too. There he is. I really do love this guy. Like, I love him. He's one of my favorite people in the business by far, and he said I love you, Sid, too, so you heard that, right?
I heard it.
Yeah.
He usually doesn't do that.
You don't say it every time anymore.
I do.
You used to say it all the time.
Literally every time.
Every time?
Not only that, I'm calling you like baby names. I'm calling you like sweetheart.
You
I'm
do
calling
that,
baby.
yeah.
I'm calling
yeah,
you.
that's because you're gay.
Oh, no, what?
Yeah, you didn't know that, but
I didn't.
You and Scott Hamilton.
Okay. Well, and that was supposed to be a secret.
He has been watching figure skating. On the street.
I'm not.
Why?
I am not. I'm gearing up for the year. I got to scout the Olympics. This is a problem.
We'll take a short break.
Camel right now. Come on.
Talking in your sleep when I hold you in my arms at night. Don't you know you're sleeping in the spotlight? And all your dreams that you keep inside. You're telling me the secrets that you just can't hide.
Sid and Friends in the morning. 77 WABC.
I love this song. My guitar gently weeps. This is the Beatles, but they remade it with like Tom Petty and like Prince and right. Roy Orbison. Who? No, that was a Traveling Wilburys. I get confused. Who did this one?
It's the Beatles.
No, but Petty redid it. Petty and
no, they did it on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes, it's like 3 or 4 Hall of Famers that did it. They remade it. It was great. Yeah,
and
but this is great.
And there was a very cool person on the stage besides Prince.
Bob Dylan,
a relative of the person who was on this song.
A relative of Sean Lennon. Julian Lennon.
No, the wrong Beatle.
Okay, from Wings.
The guy who wrote the song.
It would be George.
George Harrison's son.
Yeah, James Harrison from the Steelers.
Right, exactly.
Same guy.
He was quite a player.
Yeah, he was black, but you know what I'm saying.
George played around a lot.
We got to go. Brian Kilmeade is coming up next. Lou Ruffino, excellent job. Justin Ellick, great. Noam Layden, very funny today. We got a monster show tomorrow. Peter King, Michael Goodwin, Bill O'Reilly, the beautiful Caitlin Sinclair live in studio. We're going to kick some ass on a Thursday. Till then, folks, peace.
My guitar gently